Alright. Hopefully that storm is pretty much gone now. It's a bit windy outside. Right, let's see. Mic's good, audio's good, speakers are off, phone is away. And game's good, everything else is good to go. Okay, we're good to go, I think. So, yeah, I'm not starting for a few minutes, but as usual, I just want to warm up before we get started. So, just need to start looking at that and more looking at the stream. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a pleasant day slash evening slash night slash morning from wherever you're signing in from. So, yeah, just nothing at the moment. I actually just want to warm up. So, what better way to warm up? Suppose I'll just do a dungeon while we wait. Just so we get ready. Okay. I kind of want to do Mistweek again. I've been doing Mistweek a lot, but I kind of just want to do it again. Instant keeps. And I love the music in here, so we'll go with that. Solutions Dies music will never not be epic. So, I could listen to it all day. Evening. Oh. I have a feeling the music might be slightly too high. Right. Aw, that's cute. My hands are freezing. Oh, I hate playing with cold hands. Like, I have my gloves on right now, but I really hate playing with cold hands. It just makes everything so hard. My apartment's really cold right now because I only got in, so it takes a while to warm up. Yeah, Thomas, it either means they don't care, or they're super into something else, which means they also don't care. Or they just switched and they forgot to actually change their portraits. I do that a lot, to be honest. I change one thing and I just all of a sudden forget to do it. Or I click no by mistake, one or the other. One thing I've noticed about my broken finger is when my hands are cold, it's very, it's a lot harder to move it. Suppose I'll be living with that for the rest of my life, though. But I just need to warm my hands up. Good to go, they can work on. I don't recognize that title, Queen Bean. I'm not really much into titles, to be honest, so... oh jeez. I forgot what I was doing there for a second. I even forgot to do my thing. Oh, you're not being rude, Thomas. Don't worry about it. You be as rude as you want if you want to be rude, but what you said isn't rude. And I'm not default portrait, was I? Maybe I just looked like it was fault. I don't remember. Queen. It sounds like Queen Bee. Maybe it's for... Is it from... No, I don't think it would be from Savage. Although Savage hasn't given titles for a long time. Dungeons has things. Oh, that's a little one. It's from the Fall Guys crossover. Okay. I'm gonna be perfectly frank. I did the Fall Guys on day one with all my friends. I had a great time. And I proceeded not to touch it since. Like, I had an amazing time day one with my friends. Great time. But I just never touched it. I've never touched it since. I mean, it was fun, but I played it a lot. Treno, I love you. Please don't disappear in 7.5. Please. Please, I love you. Oh, Treno. Like, I can literally remember exploring Treno as a child. Like, trying to collect all the Zodiac coins, trying to win the Triple Triad tournament and failing, and then having to go out and get other cards just to pass it. Good times. Oop, eyes are breaking out. Now, as I recall today, the new relic step came out today, didn't it? I was seeing a lot of people doing crystal paste memes today, so I'm assuming it has something to do with farming. Because crystal paste does not sound it doesn't sound nice or nor natural. Although I still haven't finished the other step of, well, you can't see it right now, but I haven't finished the other step of my my relic. I know exactly why, to be honest. Like, the moment I stopped playing Savage is the moment I really stopped caring about what gear I was wearing. Like, when you raid Savage, or Ultimate, for that matter, you care about the gear you're using. But after I stopped it, it's just like, I really don't give a crap what I'm wearing anymore. I mean, look what I'm wearing. I'm just wearing stuff out of this dungeon. Like, I get my upgrades from this from this dungeon. Thanks, Omega. Appreciate it. I have noticed a correlation. Like, I noticed the correlation a long time ago, to be fair, but sorry, my throat. I noticed the correlation a long time ago that FF14 viewers of my channel specifically, like, they like the lore content, but they seem to like the theory content a lot more. So I try to balance both of them fairly well, but people are just really starving for theory content these days. So, I mean, so am I. I don't... Theories are abundant in my brain. I come up with a new theory on a daily basis. I don't make videos about most of them. That's why I'm streaming tonight. Like, I have a bunch of theories I'm going to go over with you, but I'm not making a video out of them. I'm starting to think, though, I should start leaning more into theory content than I usually do. Like, I love lore videos, but lore videos do take a lot longer. And aside from the research, I don't put much editing effort into my theory videos. Oh dear. Oh dear, this is not going to be good. I should really focus on what I'm doing. Okay. Alright, I'm back to where I was. I'll glance at the chat in a second when I stop sucking. Okay. You're hoping for the 15 collab to come back. Oh, for the car, yeah. I keep meaning to finish 15. I don't hate 15. Like, I think 15 was interesting. It's just I couldn't grip it as well. Yeah, I forgot what I said. I couldn't grip 15 as well. Like 16, I was immersed into it. Although to be fair, with 16, I went on my holidays from work at like the 15th of December and proceeded to binge FF16 over the entire Christmas. That was a good couple of weeks. I loved that. I loved 16 was great. 15, I just couldn't latch onto 15 that well. Like 15 is probably the one main series game of Final Fantasy series. It's the one I least understand because I haven't finished it. And I don't like that. So I need to finish it at some point. It's really important to me that I finish it actually. But I always end up doing something else. Like 14 takes up most of my time. I'll occasionally jump into other games for a relaxing time. Like, for example, I'll play Valheim when I feel like building something. I play Helldivers 2 when I feel like shooting something. Bugs. Hate bugs. And yeah, I'll drift into other games like Eve when I feel like I feel like space. So, I drift through those certain games once in a while. But I just can't properly invest the time. Like, I should do it piecemeal. I know I should, but I don't know. Like, usually I'll try and play something like that, and then all of a sudden I'll think, oh, I have a great new theory in FF14, and then I'm back into FF14 before I realize it. Like, maybe I should just do it like 30 minutes a day. Just save point to save point in 15. It has save points, right? I think. You're hoping for a Bravely Default collab. I mean, I know a lot of my friends would love that, to be honest. Considering the other collaborations we've gotten recently, it's definitely within the realm of possibility considering the IP. And I have a feeling that the developers are now in the mode of give the customer what they want because they got a bloody nose with Dawn Trail. I'll talk about that after though. Within... I know. I messed that up. I'll go answer that question now in a second, Thomas. Actually, let me not get myself killed first. I let my dots drop. I'm such a scrub. Hello, Faith. Had Faith you'd arrived? I tell you, the one place where Dawn Trail really hit it out of the park in my opinion is the music. The music of Dawn Trail was so amazing. It still is. Like, it's definitely, like, the boss music for the dungeons is definitely one of the best in my opinion. Like, I have my favorite, of course, which is Twofold. Twofold is definitely my favorite dungeon theme, or my favorite boss dungeon theme. Tornado. I'm really looking forward to focusing on the chat now, because I dare not take my eyes off the screen. Even though it's a dungeon, you can do it in your sleep. Unfortunately, I'm very bad at this game right now. Okay then. Okay. So, Lalafels get their ups, of course. I have my favorites from Lalafels. Well, I'm biased. There we go. 30. Thank you. And there we go. I didn't get one combination. Ooh, yeah. I feel attacked. Okay, so where was I? Alright, so let's go back to the chat here real quick. A lot of love for 15, a lot of love for 16. 15 felt weird. But since we're talking collabs, yeah, I've already done that. I talked about that. 15 was so much better when you consume all the other media for it, like the movie and anime. And all the character DLC is a weird game with a good multimedia experience. Yeah, I recall, I've seen some of the small, like, I've seen the anime with the guy where he exercises and he loses weight, like the anime thing. Like, I thought that was really cool. But I haven't watched the video or anything else, but yeah, they really did lean back into their... If you remember back in the day with Square, I think it was called Square Films or Square Movies, where they used to make they used to make movies like The Spirits Within, which I still think that's a great movie, to be honest. I still think Spirits Within was a great movie. But the point is, they used to branch out a lot more, and in 15 they branched out again. They didn't do that with 16, which is a shame, because in my opinion 16's universe would have made for great anime content, great side story content, like before the Blight, for example. Like, that would have been great, just like a window into the past and stuff like that. I thought that would have been great. Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't do that. Although it's to be fair, it's not really too late. I mean, let's be real. 17's already well into development. We can guess that. I mean, by copyright alone, they've already copyrighted the names and stuff like that. But they do that with a lot. Here's a lore question that is entirely irrelevant to current content. The Zayla Questor tribe. Its members have personal names. The Zayla tribe. The Zayla Questor tribe. The Questors are the aren't they the mutes? The people who don't talk? I mean, they take a vow of silence or something like that, and they'll look at you as if to say, they'll like try and talk a discussion with their eyeballs. I don't remember, actually. I'm frankly curious myself. I can't really remember that Zayla tribe, to be honest. There's like, how many tribes? There's not only the ones in the game. There's multiple tribes in lore that haven't been seen, to be honest. They don't talk, but they have names. I mean, I'm just gonna go with the tried and true sign language. Or are they like Mandalorians or something, that maybe they'll do it in private when it's just when it's Questor to Questor? Maybe they'll talk. To be honest, I don't know much about them aside from the fact that they have a vow of silence and they guard reunion. Like, there's one here. Oh no, that's not one. They're in the yellow, aren't they? They're in the yellow outfits, aren't they? Or yeah, they're in the yellow outfits. So yeah, there's one. Okay. Tamachag. I mean, they have to have names, because we wouldn't know what to call them otherwise. I mean, they could have just called them generic Questor guard. The Questor believe all words are merely lies. That is what... Oh, that's not a Questor either. Alright, so he's saying something, actually. The Questor believe all words are merely lies. That is why they do not speak. Fair. Are names lies, then? That's a good question, actually. Are names lies? It's also why I'm forced to deal with so many troubled travelers unable to understand Reunion's ways. Right, they have to be at the front gate. Where are they? Can you even talk to a quester? Yeah, there's a quester. Okay, so they're the ones in these outfits. Sorry. I have a hard time telling them apart. Do they all cover their mouths as well, actually? They wear half masks to cover their mouths. Okay, yeah. So they don't want you knowing anything about their expressions either. I mean, their eyes will tell a tale, but you won't see a smirk. You won't see a grimace or like stuff like that. I'm gonna be honest. I have frankly no idea. There are cons in the tent. That's right, yeah. Where's it's the big one. It has to be the big one. Cons in big tent. It's not a tent. This is a yurt. Don't be calling a yurt a tent. It's a yurt. Alright, so he has a name. She has a name. Yeah, these ones have names, but the guard didn't have names. He seems to be the quest for Charles Khan. He welcomes you to reunion with a smile. How do I know that? He welcomes you to reunion with a smile. His freaking mouth is covered. Oh my god. Somebody wasn't thinking when they translated that. He welcomes you to I mean, I guess you could just go... I mean, the eyes would tell, your eyes would soften. And it kind of goes kind of circular if you're like... Yeah, like I'm smiling at you, of course. Yeah, there's probably gonna... Yeah, Faith, to be honest, you've actually, like... The fact that we're talking about this so much... Yeah, there's probably going to be a lore video at some point going over... Not just the quest here, I'll probably go over all of them. Because... She meets her... Oh, she's very shy, okay. Oh, she must be having a hard time of it. I mean, if she can't even look me in the eye... How the hell does she communicate with anybody? If she can't even look me in the eye. She's got nothing going for her if she can't even look me in the eye. Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. Because I didn't really think about it that way. I mean, they have to have their own way of communication. And I would have assumed it was like some sort of internal sign language. Oral lore is actually really interesting once you look into it. It is actually very interesting once you look into it. It's actually very elaborate. It got lost a little bit in Stormblood, unfortunately. Primarily because they were introduced in Heavensward. I don't know if they write. If words are lies, why would they write them? I mean... If words are lies, like as he said. So, let's see. Hang on. All words are merely lies. That is why they do not speak. But the same applies to written words as well. It must apply to that. That's fascinating, actually. I never thought about it that way. So yeah, I'm going to have to put I'll put a pin in that because I don't have a proper answer right now. Alright, let's go back here, because I'm very behind on everything now. Raid music is doing so good. The Tyrant theme I thought was very good, actually, yeah. I really enjoyed the Tyrant theme. I still love Triumph from Stormblood. Same, I love Triumph. Solution 9 music is one of the best tracks in the game. Absolutely. I love Solution 9. I spend most of my time in game is spent sitting in Solution 9. 16 as a film would be sick. It's almost low-hanging fruit. You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong at all, to be honest. Do I consider... I would assume it's actions... Like, the only way I could assume that words wouldn't be lies if it was sign language. So... I mean, that's probably the only way they could do it. I mean, they have to communicate somehow. But it's possible that they only communicate in private. So maybe when it's just them, the doors are locked, nobody can hear them, maybe they'll communicate that way, because the children wouldn't really understand when they're young. Like, the adults would have to communicate with the children as they're growing up, for example. So there's that aspect of it. Like, is this one? No, that's somebody else. What do you think of Equestrian customs? They're a bit odd, to be honest with you, but they're willing to let non-Zeta treasuries as well. Yeah. Well, she doesn't give me any more information. I'm going to have to research that. It's probably in the encyclopedia, to be perfectly fair. But as I said, there's actually a lot of Zeta tribes. So we only see this part of the steppe. We don't see over here in the desert region. And there's certain other parts of it we don't see either. So we've only seen a fraction of the actual Zeta tribes that exist on the steppe. There's a lot of them we don't see. And you can tell they're like directly inspired by Mongolia. Like you can tell literally by the landmass location alone. There's inspiration with Mongolia. Like the overall culture and everything else, just it screams Mongolian. Or Mongol. Is it called Mongol or Mongolian? I think it's Mongol. Yeah, I'll come back to this. I'll research the subject and I'll come back to it, I think. Because I have no idea. By the North Gate. Really? Yeah, so they have to have a language of some kind. I mean, I'm sure they developed a language. I think they're just patterns. I'm not really sure they're a language. It doesn't look like a language. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, they're pretty mysterious, aren't they? Yeah, I'll come back to that. Oh, by Narragansett. Oh, maybe I missed it. Huh? I'm not sure if you're talking about this or not, but I'm not sure if that's language or just decoration. It might be language. It might mean something in particular. Maybe it means silence. Yeah, I'll come back to that. Is this Porter or somebody else? No, that's not him. Oh, sorry, you were talking about him. Okay, so he's riding. Okay, sorry. Okay. So this guy, okay. Well, there's actually nothing written there, but he's doing something. Although for all I know, he's using numbers, not words. So he's doing inventory. So maybe you have a job interview. Condon, good luck. My thoughts will be with you. Just remember, maintain eye contact and speak very clear, very loud. Well, not too loud, but project confidence. That's what they're looking for. They're interviewing your personality. They don't really care about your skills. They want to know you. That's the important bit. So just project your confidence. Even if you're nervous, project confidence. Right. I'll come back to the... I'll put a pin in this and we'll come back to it. So, let's see. What did I want? There was a subject I wanted to go over. So, I was thinking of making a theory video about it, but I decided not to. But I wanted mainly to get everybody's opinion while we were actually in a live stream. So, let me go to the place in question. Because I'll be very interested, given what we've learned in the past couple of patches, what everybody would think about this subject. So, I should really get to this, but to be fair, it's just on my list of everything else. I just pick at it by just doing my random things, so I'm not in a hurry to get a relic. I mean, it's cool, but to be fair, the last two relics I've gotten, to be honest, I don't even use their glamours. I don't like having very elaborate glamours. Like, I prefer simplicity. Like, my glamour is very simple. That's what I prefer. I prefer my glamours to be just as unobtrusive as possible. Like, very looking functional. You're so happy to see some reputation in Halmarut for an aura. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that the Scion should have an aura. I mean, we had a Rogadin in pretty much all but name. Poor Moonbreeder. You little shit. I know you're not what you seem. You are a trap. I know what you are. You are a danger to everybody around you. I know what you are. You are a Tonberry. Well, aside from the fact that you're a Tonberry, he is still extremely suspicious to me. I have theories about him, but I'm not going to go into them all right now. There's another theory I want to go into, so it's primarily regarding Rip to the Moonbreeder. The greatest axe wielder ever. Moonbreeder was an amazing character. I loved Moonbreeder. I thought she was an absolutely amazing character. She still is, to be honest. She's still a very real kind of character to me. Like, I felt a lot of, like, yeah. I mean, I was a little biased because I was a warrior main at that point. But, oh Jesus, everyone's here. How can you hate Tonberries as a scholar? Thomas, it's a very simple one with me. They killed me so many times and frustrated me as a child. I can still remember trying to get Odin's GF and the Tonberries knifing me to death. Like, Tonberries put an unnatural fear into you when they start creeping closer and closer to you, especially when you're under-equipped and they're just creeping towards you and you can't kill them in time. I'm always like, oh my god, oh my god. To be fair, I love Tonberries. Like, Tonberries they're an interesting character. The ones in 14 I love because they're not constantly out to kill you. I mean, they were originally, but once they found themselves, they stopped trying to kill us. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. Oh, I remember I can't fly here. But yeah, this is the place I want to talk about. So we got the Occult Crescent in 7. Actually, do you know what? Let me switch to other music because I have a feeling it's very loud. Let me go over to this 9 music here. Here we go. Alright, that's a little better. So, you're all so loud. Yeah, let's go over here because this place I still have my, like, what the hell is this? Like, we know it has a name now. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it has a name. But yeah, let's talk about this. So, we got the Occult Crescent in 7.2, I think? Right? I think we got it in 7.2. I'm not really sure. So, like, almost a year ago. And I spent a lot of time here in the beginning, like everybody else did. Like, it's an unusual thing. We haven't even seen the other half of the island yet, but it seems to be a weird amalgamation of perfectly preserved slices of civilizations from the 5th Astral Era and the War of the Magi. So it's really strange. Like, we still haven't got a proper answer about that. To be fair, the answer is coming. But I want to know what, like, we have our own theories about how this place would be possible, given the fact that these civilizations seem to have just been either teleported or recreated on this island through very unnatural means, artificial means. But we never got an answer as to exactly why they're in such great condition, and these creatures that have been transported here as well. We all had our own theories about what was going on, but the one theory in my mind that's gotten significantly stronger thanks to the fact that Halmarut has now shown herself in 7.4 is that one of the Ascians was directly responsible for the creation of this island. It's entirely possible that the mysterious master or overlord or whatever he's called of this island is actually another of the Ascian overlords, just randomly in hiding. Now, I don't think an Overlord would have had the capabilities of doing this. I mean, they can wield creation magic to an extent, but they can't wield it fully. Not like not like an Unsundered. So, it's entirely possible that this was maybe a pet project. I mean, we know Emmett Selk had his own pet project. He created Amarok, for example. This might have been another Ascian's pet project. It could have been Elidibus for all we know. Like, we don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think La Hebrea would have had the patience, considering he was a bit cuckoo. But the more I look at it, the more I feel like there's a direct Ascian involvement, and that another Ascian will be revealed when all this comes around. Like, when you look at it, you get immediate... I get immediate Elpis vibes from this place. Do I think an Ascian had any part in the War of the Magi? That is an extreme yes. The Ascians orchestrated so many of the very negative events that happened in Eorzea's entire history, primarily to facilitate the rejoinings. Considering the fact that they helped found the Allegan Empire, the Garlean Empire, they orchestrated events for calamities after that. They were involved, they're so deeply ingrained into Eorzea's history, it's hard not to believe that they were directly involved in the War of the Magi. I'd say they directly stoked the flames of war, which is why I think Ascian involvement is extremely likely, given the fact that all these ruins are here. I mean, how else would you explain an entire island that is literally, like, Eorzea's here, like, the ruins in question are pieces here, 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 here. And the island is what? So it's over here or something, isn't it? Like, how else can you explain it except by creation magic? Creation magic is the only explanation for somebody recreating these cities in such vivid detail. Like, it's uncanny. I mean, the only other way I think about it is, given how much goth theatre kid Emmett is, there's definitely his fingerprints all over Mac. I mean, you're not wrong about that. Like, it's entirely possible, like, the Unsundered, it seems to be the Unsundered have their primary fingers in every event that happens on the source. And the Overlords were mainly assigned to the Reflections. Like, you just look at it and you just go... I mean, there's no other explanation. Like, there's two explanations in my mind right now, given the knowledge that we have. The first one is direct Ascian involvement. Creation magic would easily allow them to have recreated these ruins, or even... yeah, to just recreate these ruins. And they probably weren't ruins at one point. They probably look brand new. We don't know exactly how old these things are. But I'm assuming they date back to the War of the Magi, but they're just better maintained. She displayed in terms of moving objects between stars. Yeah, see, that's one thing. They have the ability of moving inanimate objects. They can't move themselves because they have to abandon their physical bodies in order to transfix the rift. Emmett Selk was the same. So, or similar. I mean, the only other thing that could explain it, like, we've seen strange structures transplanted into other places that they don't belong, and the key was directly responsible for that with interdimensional fusion. Like, it's entirely possible that this place was the result of actions using something, either the key or something similar to the key. I mean, if you think about it for a second, actually, no, when exactly was it? So, yeah, the key left Aetheris before the War of the Magi. Yeah, so mark that out. But it's entirely possible other artifacts similar to the key existed at one point. It's possible one of the Ascians even had one of those artifacts. I mean, don't forget, think about this for a second. We have seen Ascian overlords transplant massive objects seemingly out of nowhere from one place to another. They appear in a flash of lightning. And case in point is the towers from the end of Shadowbringers and all through Endwalker. I mean, Fandaniel transplanted these towers all over the world seemingly at the same time. So the tower wasn't there at one point. In a flash, the tower was there. So he did that by himself, likely with a substantial power source. So he demonstrated the ability of doing that. So an Ascian doing this is extremely plausible. And I think the fact that Halmarut has shown up, I think another Ascian is going to show up at that point. So the question is, though, which Ascian could it be? Like, who's on the board? Do any of them have... Do any of the remaining Ascians on the board have an interest in like, not archaeology, but architect? I think one of them is no. Is one of them an architect? I think one of them is an architect, right? I wanted to see if there's something about the architect. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me go back to the convocation. Hang on. Yeah, so hang on. Ugh. Fandom, I swear your ads are getting worse. I go to this site every day and their ads are getting really bad. Right, who's on the board at the moment? So, Logrif's not on the board. Mitron is not on the board. Emiselka's gone. Pastorot is, assuming they're alive, yeah, is possibility. Conservative Order and the Collective Will. Doesn't really sound like them. Fandaniel is the Overseer of Eccentric Phenomena and Overseer Alive, of course. Ultima, Advocate of Aesthetics and Myriad Arts. Plausible. Could be her. Halmarut, Cultivator of Botanical and Mitochondrial Creations. I mean, the creatures could definitely be something she did. She might have helped with that, you never know. Nabrialis, Martial Champion and Refiner of Technique, we already know, and he's long gone, as far as we're aware. He might have been recreated, you never know. Igiorim is shattered into a million pieces. Dudelaphon, the Innovator, Appraiser of Architecture and Patron of Invention. So, he's the one. Hythlodaeus is the Chief of the Bureau of the Architects. Yeah, true, but he's not an Ascian. And we know his soul is passed on, so we know it's not him. Dudelaphon seems to be the primary one. Appraiser of Architecture and Patron of Invention. Meriloth is gone. Ahabrea is gone. Elidibus is gone. Azem is us. Although, I'm still not discounting another shard of us coming around and being a very baddie. So, Dudelaphon is the one that seems to be the... What the... Oh. May as well do it. May as well. So yeah, of all the Ascians, Dudelaphon's MIA. So, him actually being responsible for all this is highly plausible, considering his background. So, might have had a taste for the architecture of the nations of the World of Magi. Maybe he felt a need to preserve them. Maybe he realized that... Like, let's think about a reason for that. So, let me put this across to you for a second. So, let's think about it for a second. Let's say, for the sake of argument, and it's extremely likely, that the World of Magi was influenced, orchestrated, and manipulated by the Ascians. Now, it might have been a single Ascian, it might have been multiple Ascians. We know they kind of collaborate in certain aspects. But let's say, for example, Dudelaphon was involved with the orchestration of the World of Magi. He would have had direct involvement in that case Nibiros, have a good day in work. So let's say, right, Dudalifon's directly involved in stirring chaos, stirring the pot, as it were. And let's say he has direct involvement with the one of a dozen nations that are directly involved with the War of the Magi. Like, we know the War of the Magi primarily for the three big ones, or the three big nations, which are Mak and Amdapor and Nim. However, there was numerous other nations that were wiped out during that course. Now, perhaps, let's say Dudalifon was directly involved in all this, and he saw that these nations were going to get wiped out. Maybe he felt that in his architecture, maybe his architectural heart, that he's like, oh, these lovely nations I helped sculpt are going to be wiped out. I mean, how would you feel if somebody came along after you had sculpted this lovely piece of work and now they're just going to smash it? Would it kind of hurt you? Like, from an engineer standpoint, if somebody did that to me, I'd be extremely upset. So, let's say, for example, these nations are about to get wiped out. He decides to back them up, back up their architectural achievements, because that's all that's mainly backed up, is their architectural achievements. So he decided to transplant them onto an island. Maybe either recreated them, took aspects of their civilizations entirely, we don't know, and put them onto this island. I mean, that's a distinct possibility for an identity for an Ascian who would have been responsible for this definitely out of place sort of goings on. Hades kicked down his sandcastle. Yeah. But yeah, don't forget, he couldn't really create people either, or he chose not really to create people. Archive, the little suspicious little Tomberry as he is. He seems to be, well, he's Tomberry in appearance. He's not a Tomberry though. I don't think he's a Tomberry. And if he is, he's definitely strange. He feels to me like a creation of creation magic. Although a level of creation magic we haven't seen since Meteion. Although we have seen, like, thanks to Hermes. Hermes created Meteion from nothing. Although he created her in a different aspect using Dynamis, but that's a different story entirely. But he was able to create a creature that was able to think and act for itself. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that the likes of Dudalifon created Archive for the same purpose. Perhaps as a living record of sorts for everything that's here. Like, it's weird, isn't it? That his archives, his knowledge only unlocks the more we discover. I mean, it's part of the plot, of course, but it just makes you think. Like, it's just like, it's very suspicious. But it's all directly tied to him. I mean, for all I know, he could be frickin' Dudalifon, for all I know. But yeah, I have my distinct theory and feeling is that Dudalifon is the Ascian that is behind the creation of this entire thing. Alcarv is actually a Hammerut wearing a fully mustache and Tomberry costume from the Hatching Tide. But yeah, I was going to make a video about that theory, but I decided, you know what, I just want to get your feedback on that, actually. I mean, he's cute, isn't he? Save for the second Fork Tower, I haven't faintest clue what lies on the North Horn, a state of ignorance no doubt caused by that Vexus seal. For the time being, we shall wait for Katemram and his crew to make headway. Nice puns. But yeah, that's my theory in that regard. So, I'm happy with that theory, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with it. We're not going to have to wait long to find out. I mean, it's 7.5 is going to give us part 2 of the Occult Crescent, right? So, or it should, anyway. I don't know if anything was actually elaborated on. Where does the battery source come from? The battery for what? If you're talking about him, I'm assuming he's feeding off Aether like most other creations. You need a ton of Aether. That's true, although there's parts of this island we don't really understand. Like, it seems to have a lot of etheric energy surrounding it. I mean, you've got the storms that are surrounding it that drive your course. That's something's driving that as well. So I'm not discounting the possibility that this island is an etheric nexus, for example. So entirely possible. I mean, it has its own theme. We know the theme is Final Fantasy V. But you actually have a question on 5, isn't it? Here's my question. How does 5 play into this? The island is based on the area from Final Fantasy V and uses a lot of Final Fantasy illusions. The jobs are a prime example. You need a ton of Aether for moving the architecture. Yeah, he would, but who knows what kind of Aether resources they actually had access to back then. I mean, the world was a lot younger. To be fair, I'd say they had easy access to etheric energy. I mean, that's a title I should be wearing, right? Wyrm Whisperer. I'd say it would have required a significant amount, but if Daniel was able to pull it off with the towers, that's before the towers actually started siphoning etheric energy. So I'd say it was definitely possible. Is anybody I know doing this? Oh, I recognize a few faces. Yeah, but that's my theory on that one. So, I suppose what's next now? Which theory do I want to talk about next? If you have any other questions though, just send me the questions. I love actually theorizing about things I don't actively think about myself. Oh, that water is loud. Holy crap. Let's see. I want to go back to Solution 9 real quick though. Do you know, I haven't really looked closely at this thing. I mean, burb. Yeah, I suppose that's one topic I actually wanted to bring up with people as well. I mean, I said it earlier that Dawn Trail hit it out of the park with music, but I'd be interested to hear what people's opinions are on Dawn Trail as a whole. I mean, personally myself, I really enjoyed Dawn Trail. What the issue with Dawn Trail though is, I'll get to that in a minute though. I mean, it makes sense, but I'll get to it in a minute. The milking saw. What's this? Ooh. Oh, the chainsaws. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I enjoyed Dawn Trail, to be honest. Like, the story, in my opinion, was very good. It's a reboot of sorts. So I at the beginning, I looked at it through that lens. I mean, it being split in two, where you had two chapters. So one's the Terrell kind of Tuliolal chapter of the Rite of Succession, and then the second chapter with Alexandria, made it a little jarring for some people. I mean, a lot of people really only remember the second part of Dawn Trail because they felt the first half was too slow. But don't forget, the first half has to reintroduce this new expansion, so naturally, like, every expansion starts off very slow. Dawn Trail has some pretty severe pacing issues, and characters tend to state their motivations too much. That's true. Yeah, they're very like, I am going to do this, or this is my purpose and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I get characters have to narrate their things like that, otherwise we won't properly identify with them. But I do agree with you on some aspects. Some of the characters talk more than they need to talk. Shaloni is also filler. Alright, I'm going to ask you this honestly. Not this. Actually, yeah, that's actually good. How much do people actually remember Urkopaka, Kozumauka, Yaktel, and Shaloni. Now, be honest for a second. How much do you actually really remember them? I'll be honest. I don't really remember them that well. And I have to be honest about Dawntrail as well. I'm somebody who interacts with the game world of FF14 on a constant basis. And in terms of zones, I rarely interact with these 4. I interact with these 2 on a almost daily basis, at least once a week. And yeah, Solution 9 of course is my favorite, but I don't interact with these zones. Very rarely. I'll go there sometimes for researching purposes, but otherwise I've never interacted with those zones aside from playing through them. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're lovely designs, but what's the best way of saying it? They're easily forgettable? Is that the best way of saying it? They're forgettable? Like, I've never felt that way about any zone in FF14 before. Like, I can remember the zones of Shadowbringers so well. Like, I remember the events instantly in my mind. I remember every event that happened. I remember landing in Lakeland, speaking to the guy in his chocobo. I remember rushing through trying to fight Ranjit. Like, I remember the events of Kaluja, Amarang, Ilmeg, Ratika Greatwood I'm extremely familiar with. Endwalkers the same way. I explored Labyrinthos on a daily. Thavnir was the weakest zone for me. I wasn't really a fan of the theme, to be honest. Garlemald is my favorite zone out of it. Mare Lamentorum. You can't not remember Mare Lamentorum. Elpis sticks to you just instantly because of the story, and Ultima Thule for its emotional impact on you. Like, the zones in the previous expansions just, they had so much more impact on me, and these 4 I don't even remember. Like, this zone didn't really have an impact on me at all. Like, there was certain parts of it that I was like, oh my god, that's like really funny, like getting the American accents, which I thought were really cool. Like, it was a real Western sort of theme, but as somebody who didn't grow up in the United States, Western doesn't mean as much to me as it does to somebody in the US, for example. Like, I think watching a Western would actually mean a lot more to somebody in the States, so I don't know how they feel about that. But there's other zones in the game that just speak to me a lot more. I like Urupaka, but if the Pelu Pelu weren't in Kazumuka, I wouldn't be there. I want to love Shaloni, but its story was just filler waiting for Zeralta. I agree with that. Shaloni was forgettable. Like, I was looking forward to Shaloni for one thing, and that was Ceruleum. And Ceruleum was rarely referenced throughout that entire thing. I was expecting a lot more to be done with Ceruleum than what was actually done with it. Like, I remember even making a video before Dawntrail released explaining what Ceruleum was, because I was expecting Ceruleum to be a very big deal when we got to the zone, and it wasn't at all. I mean, I get they're pumping it out of the ground, like oil in the Wild West, for example. Like, I get that, but it was rarely referenced. Like, they didn't reference that the train was powered by the frickin' stuff. Like, it was just so quick. And then, of course, everything changed once the dome popped up, and then I forgot about all of this. And these 2 zones, I can remember the emotional and story impact these 2 zones had on me. And it was a lot, and still is. But these ones? I mean, don't get me wrong, they're beautifully designed. But I think the story let them down. Because the fact that the story was split in 2, and a lot of it felt like a little bit of filler. It felt like A Realm Reborn in some ways, like, I remember that. I enjoyed the story, but I don't remember part 1 as much as part 2. I mean, that's the same for a lot of stories. You don't really remember the start of a lot of stories, especially in Final Fantasy series. A lot of people remember the very beginning. They won't remember, like, 20 to 50%, and then from, like, 75% onwards, when things start picking up, they really remember everything. So the stuff in the middle, they just kind of, like, oh, I don't remember. But yeah, that's just my opinion of Dawntrail in that regard. But yeah, like, you think about the other zones as well. Like I can go to every expansion and think about it. Like, even A Realm Reborn. A Realm Reborn was nothing but zones. Like, think about that for a second. A Realm Reborn gave us so many zones. And I remember them all. I remember the impact of every zone. Heaven's Ward gave us less, but there are expansions from that point onwards, of course. But I remember all these zones. Like, Sea of Clouds is probably the weakest one for me. Azizla had an instant effect on me. The Dravanian Forelands, the Churning Mists, particularly the Western Highlands, had an extreme effect on me. So I remember them all. Stormblood, I remember the fringes extremely well, primarily because of the queues. The peaks I remember as well. The locks were my favorite. The Far East was a little weaker for me, but the Azim Steppe was definitely my favorite zone of Stormblood, primarily because of its Mongolian influences. Like, I've been fascinated by Mongolia since I was a child. But yeah, like, you think about all the other zones, like Endwalker zones. Yeah, it's just, that's the weakest part for me. But yeah, I wish Trelawney went crazy. Like, give us mad cowboy high storylines. Like, they tried. They did a little bit of that, but there was, like, I was expecting people riding around on mounts constantly, like Wild Wild West. Like, if they'd leaned into that, that would have been much better. I can barely remember Estinian's part in Trelawney, to be honest, because he was there 1 minute and gone the next. Kazuma Uka is like an empty page in my head. Urpaka was too, but with the recent Society quest, I have been seeing it more. Really, I feel the opposite. Garabania was the weak section of Stormblood for me, and Authority was great. I think Endwalker has the best pacing, except for Labyrinthos part. Shadowbringers had it nailed down as well. I would agree with Labyrinthos, to be honest. It did feel a little bit weird, but considering it was entirely artificial, I'm not surprised it felt weird. It was designed to feel weird, to be honest. Right, what do I want to talk about next? No, I'll go back to what I was talking about. So what was I talking about? Oh god, I can't remember what I was talking about now. I was talking about the expansions and how people felt about them. And I think I actually went into my subject of question, and now I just don't remember my subject of question anymore. Crap. I wish it would make zones smaller but packed with story content. Weave things together like they did with Realm Reborn. Yeah, see, that's the thing that's been lost with recent expansions. Like, I've said this a million times. I've said this on every live stream I've been in, to be honest. But the zones, like, we've said it already with these zones, for example. We already know that these zones are being heavily underutilized. They're being utilized for some side quests and stuff like that, but for the most part are underutilized. These zones are heavily utilized because the last part of the story happened there. Solution 9 is the biggest victim in all of this. Solution 9 is heavily, and I mean heavily, underutilized. So, I mean, I'm still raging at the fact that this place is entirely empty. They did make one great thing, and you've seen my video about it, where they introduced the characters from the Arcadian and spread them all over Solution 9. That was an amazing change. That was a welcome change. It added a little bit of life to this zone. But otherwise, it's freaking empty. And it pisses me off. Because this place, like, from a lore perspective, this place is supposed to be buzzing with people. But look at Tuliolal, for example. It has people walking around all over the place. This place is just so big that you barely see anybody. Like, you don't see people until you get to this place where they all congregate, and then there's loads of people, of course. There's lots of life here. No player life, because the players have no reason to come over here. Pisses me off, it does. Even the new plans for the Guardian Crest are so big, but people spend most of their time in the hub. Yeah, they're victims of that as well, to be honest. For a cyberpunk city, it's very weird. Yeah, exactly. Like, a city shouldn't feel this freaking empty. It just feels weird to me. Like, as somebody who played Cyberpunk as well, there's people all over it. It makes the bloody place alive, but there's just random people standing around. They almost don't feel part of the city. They just feel like they were just plopped. Like, that's something that they were always so careful about, making sure the characters fit with the zone. But a lot of the characters around here just feel like they were just plopped into place. I mean, it's annoying, to be fair. I mean, I love the fact that the likes of Sugar Riot is over here thinking of her next masterpiece. I mean, it's not exactly a flat canvas, but she can make it work. She's still enormously cute, though, in my opinion. Like, look at this. Look at this girl. She's so cute. Like, super adorable. But yeah, I like the fact that they introduced characters like her. That's a very welcome change, but that's a recent change. This is them doing their 180 now at this point, and they're backtracking and they're giving us what they want, what we want, rather than what they think we want. I wonder if they made Solution 9 empty to show that Alexandria didn't have that many people to begin with. We know it has thousands of citizens, and they live in Solution 9. Like, Solution 9 is not only the residential sector. Like, true, we only have access to some of it, but it extends all the way down there. There's others over here, and there's others up here. Like, there's all these buildings that people are living in. Just making it empty just made it feel... It just hurts it. It just hurts having a lovely city like this, and the moment... I know the moment Dawn Trail ends, this place is going to be abandoned. Like, I'm going to be walking around here mostly on my own after this. Like, you just have, like... You're walking around and there's just, like... There's one girl here, and... There's nothing else. The city's too goddamn big. I mean, yeah, they're trying to emphasize the scale of Solution 9, sure. But I think they made the interactive zone too big. Had they condensed it, I think they would have had a much easier time, but it's poor design as well. Like, the fact that they congregated everything over here, sacrificing aesthetics and immersion for convenience. The fact that they stuck it all over here pisses me the fuck off. I'm sorry, I shouldn't curse, but... I'm sorry, it just annoys me. Like, it annoys me when they have such a great idea, and somebody poured a shit ton, like a team's poured a shit ton of effort designing the individual graphics, the map layout, the design, and then somebody came along and just plopped the fucking NPCs here and did nothing with the rest of the fucking zone. I mean, look at it. It's enough to make you. It's enough to make you mad. Like, they're all here. There's nobody here. There's nothing here except for, like, unlocking your Savage, and then you never have to come back here. Like, all they had to do was just move the Savage vendors over here. I mean, would it have taken people out of the way? No. They still would have used the Aetheryte to go to one place or the other. Put another, like, there's an Aetheryte right here. They just would have used that Aetheryte instead of, like, when people teleport into Solution 9, they don't walk over to the Nexus arcade, like I do, but most people will teleport into Solution 9. The first thing they do is click on the Aetheryte, and then Nexus arcade. How fucking hard was it to just put them over here? I'm sorry, I just, this stuff upsets me, to be honest. This stuff just really gets to me. Like, it gets to me when they have such a perfect idea and they screw it up just with simple NPC placement. Ugh. Like, the other secondary city hubs didn't have this problem. Like, look at Idleshire. Mwah. Idleshire was perfect. Idleshire is still perfect. Yulmore gets a lot of traffic because you literally instantly teleport in and the NPCs are right there. So you don't really need to wander anywhere else. Although there's not really much to see in Yulmore, to be honest. But the other zones are similar. Like, let's go back and think about it for a second. Like, Idleshire is the most popular one because it has extra stuff bringing people there. I mean, why can't they also just put the NPCs from Idleshire around these areas as well? I mean, would have drawn traffic to the other zones. Ralga's Reach? Yeah, watch. I'll go here to be fucking over here. Watch. This is another zone that suffered from this design. I mean, no, it's not as bad, actually. Because, look. They're evenly dispersed around the majority of the area. So you have to go to these areas. Look, they separated everything perfectly well. So they actually did it right with Ralga's Reach. I mean, Ralga's Reach is just so old at this point, you barely see people running around there. I mean, there's this guy. He's having a great time. I mean, you'll see people over here. We have the clans. But yeah, this is literally going to be Solution 9 now in a year. In a year, this is going to be Solution 9. Like, what's the other one now? So, Yulmore is the next one, of course. Then Endwalker. Endwalker would be... Is it Charlene or... No. No, Charlene has the market board, sorry. Radzatan. Radzatan is where things started to kind of... It kind of went off the tracks now at this point. Radzatan is a lovely city. I mean, I'm not a fan of Thadnir. But... Fuck me, is this a big city? And again, this is where it all... this is where it started showing up. Look. You've got the NPCs all here. And the rest of this is all just... Yes. But look, there's people here. Like, people like hanging around here. I mean, there's not many of them. I mean, to be fair, there's actually a lot less people here now than I've seen. Didn't expect to come into another empty rant area on the stream called Theory and Lore. Yeah, sorry. I do this on almost every stream, to be honest. I get a bit heated about this because it pisses me off. But yeah, let's get back to lore, shall we? So, that's a good point. Zakanda, thank you. You set me straight. I went on a bit of a tangent there. Alright, what are we going to talk about next? I suppose the question now... We have access to the third... Wait, hang on a second. It's nighttime, right? Okay, that's a question that's just appeared in my mind. I was thinking about Mare Lamentorum and the Watcher. Do we see the Night Reflections moon at all? Because we now know that this is above the sky clouds on the Night Reflection. We can see the sky. I think so there it is. Okay. So they have a moon, or still have a moon. So I'm gonna just jump out on a limb, considering the fact that we've already had it confirmed with the 13th reflection, is that there's a Watcher on every moon of every reflection, or a copy or a similar thing to the Watcher. It might not be the same Watcher, it might be different, I don't know. So there would be a Watcher up there. Is he somebody we could interact with? Or she, or they? It's an interesting question, actually, now that I think about it. Could they actually have something to contribute to what's going on this reflection? I mean, granted, they've seen this reflection is pretty much in the toilet at the moment. But yeah. I mean, we've nowhere to get there, unfortunately. I mean, with the 13th, it was easy. We teleported to the moon. I mean, there's nothing to say that we couldn't teleport to, like, if we... Let's think about this, for example. If we unlock the key's ability to open portals between reflections, maybe we could go to the moon of the source, Mare Lamentorum, open a portal there, which will take us to the moon of the ninth. Maybe we end up going there to ask the Watcher about, dude, what the hell's going on? You know, maybe they have some answers for us. What do you think the fourth reflection is like, since we already did most of the FF4 stuff in the 13th? Yeah, Thomas, that's... Don't immediately associate the numbers with reflections. Just because it's the fourth reflection, and just because the ninth proved us correct, doesn't mean that's going to be a constant. I mean, it's entirely possible. Do I think so? It might be. It might actually be. To be fair, I don't know. I don't know much about the fourth reflection. I mean, I know about Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV hasn't been fully referenced in this game. I mean, it's had its references, of course. So, like, a lot of things in games, music as well has already been referenced for FF4. I mean, the next expansion, if we end up getting access to the fourth reflection, having FF4 theme would be cool. I want the MSQ to make us visit the Watcher to learn more information about the key. There's no way we don't have to report something in all paperwork sorting crystals regarding it. I'd say that's probably true, actually. I'd say the Watcher is definitely somebody who definitely has some insights. Like, if it definitely is something of ancient origin, he would be a likely person to ask about what it is. But I could definitely see us going to the moon of the ninth reflection. Like, if we were looking for answers, if anybody's going to have answers about the state, like, if this, say the ninth reflection starts to really destabilize, nobody on the ground has any answers for us, but we know there's a Watcher on the moon, so us going to the moon would be a very plausible thing to do. So, I haven't spoken to the Watcher in a long time. Let's see what he's up to. I'm assuming he's going to offer us a cup of tea or something. I mean, I wouldn't mind. What's the story, my guy? Do come sit a while. Tell me more of your time in Elpis. So I chef some tea. Ah, yes. His dialogue hasn't changed since Endwalker. Poor guy. I mean, I was so happy, though. I was so happy that the Watcher was included in the story of the myth of the 12. Like, the fact that he's directly related to the 12 is amazing. Like, he was a creation of Hydaelyn, just as they were. But the fact that they knew each other, and the fact that he kept quiet, when he's just looking at him, just going, please, and he's just like, okay, I can read the room. Gaia has also shard hopped, right? I wonder if she'll ever make it to the MSQ. She's not the only one, to be honest. I fully expect Gaia to actually be involved with Unukalhai and Scylla regarding the 13th reflection space, because I'd say the 13th is going to come up again in the next expansion. Specifically our ability to heal it. Like, I'd say they're definitely going to come up at some point. But she's from a side story raid. Exactly. Yeah, so, see, this is the thing. Like, Gaia is, yeah, again, as you said, she's part of a side story. But she's directly interacted with a character in the main story. So that makes her a fully main story canon character. And we've interacted with her in the MSQ as well. So she's definitely involved with the story. It's really weird. They really need to nail that, to be honest. Like, this, having characters stuck inside stories, because if you don't do the side stories, you don't know who they are, and them having to make certain things canon in order to make them real, like they did with the Crystal Tower. The Crystal Tower was a side story. Like, it's canon to the world of FF14, but the only reason it was separate is because it was side story content that wasn't required, so people didn't really understand it. That's the only thing that made them, they're canon but not canon, if you get my meaning. So people were forced to do the Crystal Tower now, in order to actually learn who Grahatia was. But yeah, right now, Max, don't worry, you're not too late. You can watch my rant later. But yeah, right now, let's go see them. Actually, while we're talking about them a lot, we may as well go and see them. She was in the post. Yeah, she was in the post-Emerald Worker storyline, so she's definitely part of the story. But see, the thing is, it's really complicated. Every character within Final Fantasy XIV is part of the main story, technically. The only thing that prevents certain characters from directly entering the main story is the fact that their quests are side quests and not required. That's the only thing that marks them slightly separate from the main story. Otherwise, everything in this game is canon. Regardless of what you see, everything in this game is canon. It's just that because some things are not directly interacted with the main story and not required, they're ignored because the developers are afraid people won't understand who the characters are if they're just suddenly shoehorned into the story. Now, the biggest victim of that, the Crystal Tower, yeah, Faith, as I said, the Crystal Tower is one of the biggest ones. But the biggest victim is definitely Unukalhai. Unukalhai is the victim because he's involved with two major aspects of the side stories of FF14 that he's just literally, it's like he's a prime candidate to get shooed into the MSQ because we've interacted with him multiple times, but he's also a victim of this, and so is she. It's just a shame, to be honest. It's such a crying shame. They made you do Evilise for Bosja. Eden is... Did they make you do Evilise for Bosja? See, this is the thing. When we do all the content ourselves as soon as it comes out, we don't really get the... we don't get the new acquired experience anymore, so that's probably something that went over my head, but that makes sense. You wouldn't understand Bosja unless you did the Evilise series. Yeah. Oh, Nier. Jesus. Nier is so out of place, isn't it? Like, let's go there and look at it. I mean, it's... Nier, to me, in my opinion, is just so funny. Now, take this as a person who still... Yes, I know. Hang on. Let me yes. Here you go. She is my spirit animal. Yes. Oh, Nier. Nier. Now, take this as a person who's never played Nier. I did not understand the story of the Alliance raids because I'd never played Nier. My only familiarity with Nier is the fact that I've watched a series of videos on it to explain it to me. But my main familiarity is the precursor to Nier, which is Drakengard. I played both of the Drakengard games. So Drakengard is a series that's near and dear to me. But you fucking... it's just so out of place. It's like the fucking International Space Station just crashed and it's just sitting here. Oh, it does my head in. It's just there. I mean, they could spin this. Do you know that? They could really spin this. Maybe they're now that we're exploring other stars, we have access to other planets. Maybe there are planets out there, although we know their planet is Earth. Although, that's not to say Earth is not out there. It's just, yeah, when you get interactions like this, lore, in my opinion, here's my honest opinion. Lore was the last thing they were thinking about. Continuity was the last thing they were thinking about when they introduced Nier into FF14. It's like a fever dream. Yeah, Navaki has it exactly right. It's a fever dream. It's just weird. I mean, I think somebody who's played Nier would understand the Alliance raid very well. Earth is out there, and Soken is a boss fight. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Earth will never see Earth, to be honest, but it's nice to think it's out there, I think. Maybe they survived Meteon Song of Oblivion, you never know. I don't really hold out a lot of faith for our species to have survived the song, to be honest, but you never know. But yeah, Nier is something you just have to tolerate and ignore from a main story standpoint. You're never going to see this referenced in the main story. There's no reason to. It's just there to be there. Like, it's just hidden behind a mountain. Like, the only reason we can see it is because we can fly. When we couldn't fly, it's just down here. We can't see it. It's up there. Yeah, there you go. Ivalice had a better inclusion. Yeah, Ivalice tied in perfectly. Like, think about Ivalice for a second. They tied Ivalice directly into the world of... directly into Aetheris, rather. So, it's still called Heidel in here. Do you notice that? It's still... that's probably for, yeah, new player spoilers, I guess. But they still call it Heidel on the tab. I only noticed that. But yeah, they introduced Ivalice very, very well. Because they added, like, it allowed them to use this entire zone for Ivalice. Which is perfect. Like, it fills up this world, plumps it out, ties it to the main story thanks to Garlemald, thanks to their alliances with the other nations around them. It was perfect. That was the perfect way of introducing it. And we know they're tied to the main story as well. But, yeah, it was perfect. And we haven't even explored all of it. Like, Valandis down here we haven't explored. Naggia, still waiting to be explored as well. Like, there's so much on this world we're waiting to explore. Ivalice is going to come back at some point. It's going to be a different type of Ivalice, but it's going to be Ivalice. It's going to be... Ivalice has so many different stories told about it, so getting a different Ivalice would be really cool. Or a different story told in the Ivalice that we recognize. How did it Ivalice and Bozja and Wirt is peak side content? Exactly, yeah, it was. It was peak side content. The rest of them, like, it's from Stormblood onwards where they start jumping the shark. Like, we get advanced spaceships from Earth in Shadowbringers. The Myth of the 12 was another great one. It introduced the lore elements that were already existing in the main story of the game in the first place. That was perfect. The Legends and Myths of the 12 was perfect. Absolutely flat out perfect. Elaborating on the lore of the deities of the Final Fantasy universe was excellent. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then what's the one we're in right now? Oh, 11, sorry. 11 is a fever dream because we don't even have access to it. I mean, I guess from that aspect they've learned their lesson. Because the only way we actually interact with it is by crossing a planar fissure into another world, which may or may not exist thanks to electro manipulation. We know 11 exists. It's a world that's out there. Maybe it's one of the reflections. We don't know. We're not making assessments just yet. But they introduced it well because it didn't take up a physical space on the world map. But this one was the worst, without a doubt. I mean, they put it out of the way, thank fuck. But, oh, if it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, I don't know what else does. Thought you played an NA until you saw you on Phoenix. Does my accent not give it away that I don't play an NA? Although, to be fair, to be very fair, in 1.0, when I started this game, in 1.0, I actually started on Balmung. Primarily because I was a member of an NA forum about Final Fantasy XIV, and a lot of the people that I enjoy talking to decided to start on Balmung. So Balmung was actually my first server in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, Balmonk wasn't an RP server at that point. Balmonk was just a server. It developed its RP elements afterwards. And I think primarily because a lot of the people on the fan sites that I actually played on, they chose to play on Balmonk. So maybe that's how it got its start. I don't really remember, to be honest. I wasn't as massively a lore nut about Final Fantasy XIV in 1.0. I mean, I enjoyed the story, but I wasn't super immersed into the lore. Like, I was immersed into the story, but I didn't immerse it in it as much as I do today. The music has stopped. Here we go. Right. So where was I? So, yeah. We don't pay attention to him. Yeah, like, let me show you real quick. Oh, I can't log out here, can I? I still have my character. I transferred him from Balmonk ages ago. What am I trying to do? What am I trying to do? Shit. What am I doing? I shouldn't be cursing so much either. Sorry. Oh, you're a fellow Balmonk player. I wouldn't consider myself a Balmonk player because it was so long ago. I mean, I started 2.0 on Phoenix, then I jumped to Odin, then I jumped to Phoenix again, then I jumped to Louisoix, then I jumped to something else. I think it was Odin, and then I jumped back to Phoenix. And now I'm still on Phoenix. But yeah, I interact with this character every once in a while. Let's see, where is he? I think he's on the Chaos Data Center. He is on the Chaos Data Center. Hang on. It's on the Chaos Data Center somewhere. Hang on. Yeah, that was a lot. I moved around a lot in my early years, to be honest. After my FC kind of fractured in the beginning of Heavensward, I jumped to Odin. No, sorry. I started on Phoenix, then I jumped to Odin partway through. I think halfway through the Binding Coil, actually, to be specific. I think that's him. Fairly certain that's him. Yeah, so I started on Phoenix, then halfway through the Binding Coil, I took a position with a raid group on Odin. So I went to Odin, then I went back to Phoenix, I think. No, sorry, hang on. I started on a different server. Then I moved to Phoenix. Then I moved to Odin. Then I moved to Phoenix. Then I moved to Louisoix. Then I moved to Odin. And then I moved back to Phoenix. Which server did I start on? I started on Moogle. Sorry, I started on... Wait, what the hell? This isn't my character. Did I put... Oh, he's on Spriggan. Sorry, hang on. No. Let me go. I put him on Spriggan. Sorry. Hang on. Let me go to Spriggan. So yeah, I bounced between a lot of servers. I don't really know why. I kind of just liked fresh starts with new communities. Like, the communities are so integrated nowadays that I don't really need to do that. I think that's him. Yeah, so I renamed him. Wyrm Limion isn't the name I started FF14 with. I think... I can't remember my original name in 1.0. I think it was Dragonlantis. I think that was my name back in the day. It's nice to see a Q on Spriggan. But yeah, I think that's my character. No, that's not my character. Ah, crap. Oh, I think it is my character. Hang on. I think I started them as a summoner. Sorry, hang on. Yeah, I put the Arcanist because I was doing something, I think. If this thing has a level 50 summoner, then it's the... That's not my character. Where is my character? Where is my character? The Asgardians must have loved you with that name. Did I do the stadium quests? What's the stadium quests? Are you referring to the Studium quest by chance? Here he is. Sorry. This is my legacy character, which apparently is taking a million years to log in. The 6.0 crafting quests. Unfortunately, I didn't. I don't do as much crafting as I should. My friends are all hardcore crafters. I've never had the need to actually develop my own crafters because I have access to my friends. If my friends are watching, I'm sorry. The lore is good. Okay, I think I will do them down at some point. Might be something to stream actually. Yeah, there's certain aspects of the game that I really should be doing more. In order to get access to the main story. Right, are you my legacy character? Right, there's one way to find out. No, he's not my character. Where the hell is my character? I'm starting to freak out now. Where's my freaking legacy character gone? He's definitely on Spriggan. Maybe I haven't leveled my... Yeah. Oh, do you know what? Maybe that is him. Oh, it is him. Okay, sorry. I'm getting sidetracked here trying to find a freaking legacy character. There's an Elpis related one, that's all I will say. Really? An Elpis related one? Interesting. You're starting to make me kind of want to do that now, to be honest. I won't do it today, but I think I just want to talk lore a bit. You remember that glam in videos? Yeah, I made my, for example, I made my Gubu video with that character. Or this character. I keep these characters around, like my summoner, the level 61. He's permanently rooted in a Realm Reborn because I want easy access to the Realm Reborn world. Did I do the new Hildebrand? I haven't done the new Hildebrand yet. I'm going to be doing that soon. Are you my freaking legacy character? Yes or no? You're not my legacy... Oh my god. Okay, where is he? I'm freaking out now. Jeez. You don't realize you have a legacy card and all of a sudden you forget about your legacy card. Yeah, when I started in 2.0 again, I didn't even bother reviving my legacy character. Oh, he has to be around here somewhere. Where the hell is he? I think I left him bare-chested. There he is. Little shit. He's on Phantom. Okay. No, I didn't turn her off. There he is. Fecker. But yeah, you can turn off the tattoo. I tried it. The command still exists for turning it off. This is still a point of, like, anger for a lot of people. A lot of people still lust over the tattoo. A lot of people are still annoyed I have the helmet, but although a lot of people have been getting easier access to the Onion Helm these days. Like, once upon a time there was rarely any codes for the Onion Helm, and I see a lot of them actually on eBay these days. So yeah, there's my legacy character. He's renamed now, of course, but yeah, that's my guy. Left in permanent limbo, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But you see, I'm trying to show off with the chestless appearance as well. A lot of people do this. Like, there's very few glamours actually that will allow you to show this off. There was a few in A Realm Reborn, but I think a lot of the female glamours that we have access to now would actually show this off a lot easier. But yeah, that's my my little guy. Jeez, my UI is really screwed. Holy crap. My UI is a mess. But yeah, that's him. So let's go back. Right, so what else did I want to talk about? There was a topic I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember off the top of my goddamn head. My Balmont character doesn't have the tattoo because around the time the game was about to end, I told my cousin I wanted the Club Penguin membership instead, or may not have regretted that. You saw a 1.0 tattoo in Coral recently. They're still around, to be honest. Like, a lot of... See, the thing is, we're so far now detached, we're so far detached from Legacy and 2.0 that a lot of Legacy players would actually have stopped. Like, the Legacy players are some of the lifers. There are a lot of the people who will stick around forever. Like, I'm an example. I'll be sticking around until this game shuts down. Well, I know some of them have quit. Like, I know a few of them quit in around me born, actually. Most of my FC mates have the tattoo. Only a couple don't. I'd say that's a point of, like, envy as well. You know that? Although, to be fair, like, I only found my... I completely forgot about my Legacy character until just a couple of years ago. And I opened a ticket with Square Enix support, and they spoke to me in game, and they found my character for me through their system. So they actually are able to see which of your characters are Legacy and which are not. So it was thanks to them I realized that my character was actually on Balmont, because I forgot about Balmont entirely. So I was like, do you know where my character is? Like, Legacy. I'm pretty sure I had a Legacy character, and they're like, yeah, I found him. He's under this name on Balmont. And I'm just like, okay, thanks, appreciate it. So it's the Fisher quest. They unlock once you do the initial quest. I've done the Fisher quest. I've been a good fisher. I haven't leveled it recently, but like, what level is my fisher right now? Where's fish? Oh yeah. So I did this in 90. So I haven't done the 100 yet, but I'm in position to do it. I love fishing. I still love fishing, to be honest. Fishing is my favorite profession in this game. Like, if I had to choose between crafter and gatherer, I'd definitely choose gatherer. I think there are bits that might support your 8.0 theories. There's bits that'll support my 8.0 theories in the Fisher quest. Why? Okay, I'm frankly curious now. There's portions of the Fishers that are gonna tell me about 8.0. You're gonna need to tell me, Max, unfortunately, because I'm gonna hound you if you don't tell me. Mrs. Cook? Hi, Mrs. Cook. Or, sorry, Mr. Cook. I'm sorry, you look like a Mrs. Lots of lore is crammed in side quests. It's wild. It is. That's what I love. I like doing lots of side quests, and I save them all for particular occasions, just so I can do them later. Like, I've only one side quest left on Solution 9. There's the Hildebrand one. I still need to do that. I think I know what Max is talking about. Fisher does have some random lore. I mean, I know the fish have lore. The fish have hints and tidbits about certain, like, whatchamacallit. Like, if you look at the... Oh, it's not the fishing log, it's the fishing guide. Can you fish in Solution 9? If you can fish in Solution 9, then I'll probably take up fishing. Again. I assume maybe cloud fishing is something in Solution 9? I mean, I don't... Well, there is beds of water. That's a good... I still have my fisher here, right? Yeah. Let me go see. I wonder if I can fish in the Arcadian. Well, Max, to be honest, I can't speak for everybody. You'll probably make all of my viewers run away, so I don't know. Possibly. No, you can't fish in the. Well, yeah. It's expected. You can't fish in there. Is there bodies of water? Like, hang on. Fishing rod. Yeah, there's a. I'll find that in a minute. But yeah, what I wanted to bring your attention to was this. Known for its voracious appetite, originally a native of the southern continent of Mericidia. See, you get little things like that. They have little bits of lore in them. Like, the fish are amazing for that. Like, they're found in the frigid waters of the blood-brine sea. On rare occasions, sand will become trapped inside the shell and gradually form into a pearl. It's real lore. Are prized amongst well-to-do Uldans are often kept as pests, which are silverfish. Like, they're just... Fish are amazing for this. They're just so full of lore. The only thing you can catch in the fountain is drunk fans. That's actually true. These people are a bit crazy. She's very dignified, just sitting over here. She doesn't look very impressed. Like, look at her eyes. Like, I am not impressed. I am not impressed. She doesn't look very dignified. She looks like she's about to go on a murder spree. Looks like somebody out of Street Fighter is about to go on a kicking spree or something. Right, where would you fish around here? I mean, this is the only water I can think of. Where is it? Shit. Oh, is the thing still here? While we're taking a little thing here, is the thing still here? Oh, it's still here. Do you want me to ruin your immersion again? Right, if anybody's squirmish about, if you're very squirmish about your immersion into FF14, I invite you to turn your head for the next 30 seconds. Okay, I'm just going to show you. Isn't this floor lovely? Look at this floor. Lovely floor. Lovely floor. And then there's fucking this thing. Look at this. Ugh. It still makes me sick to this day. I mean, why? Why don't they... I've reported this. They still haven't fixed this. It's so disgusting. It's not right. Nothing about this is right. It's absolutely disgusting. Alright, I've made you sick enough. So, no more of that. They had one job, exactly. Okay. It's designed that way? No, it's not. Because look everywhere else. Like, this floor is down in other parts of the building. It's down here, for example. There's none of that there. This is an oversight. It's oversight. That's all it is. There's no excuse for this frickin' thing. Like, if you go down here, it's not there. Like, it's not here. It's not over there. Like, this floor pattern is used everywhere. It's not here. This is perfect. That's just sloppy. Alright. Let me talk about one more bit of lore. What do I want to talk about though? Right, what's a good theory that everybody has right now? What's a theory that people have that are just like... See, there's nothing. Look, there's no other parts of it. It's just weird. Ugh. All right, I've made people nauseous enough. All right, where are we going next? What are my crazy takes? Do I have a crazy take? Do I have one? I mean, let's be honest. FF14, there's a lot of crazy takes. Like, a lot of people have some crazy, wild theories about specifically characters in FF14. And here's the thought. We've first seen pretty much all the playable races there are, and the 13th we know exist, so why would it seem like there wasn't a native population of Milala? It's entirely possible there was. Maybe the... like... It's entirely possible, like, if you think about Final Fantasy IX lore, the... Were they called dwarves? I think they were called dwarves. The dwarves were on the outer continent. So it's entirely possible they were there. But maybe contact wasn't made with them until after Electro was invented. I have a couple of big theories, but my most recent is about Treno, Alexandria Clara Desert, being parallel to Dolet, Delling, and Desert Prison, with trains between. My most recent is about Treno, Alexandria, Clara Desert, being parallel to Dolet, Delling, and Desert Prison Everfate with trains in between. Ooh, that's an interesting one. See, like, if we've already learned that there is a lot of... like, if you think about it, it makes sense that there would be a lot of underground networks, because... they can't stay above the surface for too long. So, being under is it's a good way of getting around. Like, it's entirely plausible that some of these nations were connected via underground, but those might have been destroyed once the storm surge began. It's hard to say. I mean, I'd love Clara to exist, but I don't see that tree surviving the lightning, unfortunately. I'd say it would have burned down a long time ago. Burmecia is a place I'd love to see, but you're parallel to Dolet, Delling, and Desert Prison in FF8 with trains in between. Can you elaborate on that part? If you can, elaborate on that little part a little bit. Mine is all reflections will be destroyed, fused into the source. Luffy, I think that's how the story of FF14 will end, to be perfectly honest. Like, we might see a lot of reflections disappear. I could see that happening. Like, I'm still a proponent of the Ninth getting destroyed, and its destruction would be either via just fading out of existence, falling out of orbit, or getting rejoined to the source. Getting rejoined to the source is definitely a possibility. Fishies are on the residential area. Thank you, Diva. I think you've all been screaming this now, haven't you? Okay, I'll go over now. One general question I want your opinion on. Do you think Halmarut is an enemy or an ally? Somebody asked that a second ago. I hope that Halmarut is a friend. I'm still of the opinion, if you haven't seen my other videos yet, so if you haven't watched my 330 videos, I recommend you watch them, because I talk about Halmarut a lot in all three. Let's think. Yeah, my opinion is Halmarut. Like, people want Halmarut to be a friend or an ally. I originally thought she was going to be an ally as well, until I started remembering what her ally Calyx had been doing. He was attempting to kill us. So I'm still of the opinion that Halmarut she's a third party. She's not our friend, but she's not our enemy. She has her own agenda. Our interests will align in saving the Ninth Reflection, but after that, she has her own agenda. Just like Calyx has his own agenda. Calyx has one agenda. He's just participating with other parties in order to fund his agenda. But yeah, I'm of the opinion that she's a neutral third party. Not friend, not enemy. Like, essentially, if... like, she kind of looks like a friend, doesn't she? Like, if... she's like a polar bear looking at a human. It's like, if not food, why food shaped, essentially. Like, that's probably a bad way of putting it. But It's kind of like that. So she's, yeah, not friend, not enemy. She's just a temporary ally, essentially. She's like Emmett Selk in Shadowbringers. We knew he was our enemy, but he was helping us out until he wasn't helping us out. It's kind of like that. I saw a theory the other day that the twins left to get their Archon marks. Their Archon marks? Well, let's think about it. Right, Archon, I made a video on this as well. I made a video on Archons of Sharlayan as well. If you haven't seen that, I recommend you watch that as well. I talk a lot about Archons and the ones we know about and what it takes to become one. But Archons are they're very interesting in that you don't have to excel, for example. You don't have to excel in a technological field or a philosophical field or anything else like that. You can literally be anything. If you were the best cleaner of Sharlayan, capable of actually cleaning anything nobody else can clean, you could get your Archon mark for being the greatest cleaner in Sharlayan society. Like, there's literally multiple ways you can get it. Like, Lisa's sister, for example, for her proficiency in the pugilist arts, received her Archon mark. So she received her Archon mark for being more proficient in pugilism than anybody else in Sharlayan and introducing it into Sharlayan society. Now, Alphino could get an Archon mark for... So there's two ways of doing it. So Alphino could get his Archon mark for diplomacy, because he's bridged the gap between multiple countries or multiple nations, essentially, and he's helped bring the world together, essentially. So he could receive his Archon mark for that. Alize could receive an Archon mark as a Sharlayan citizen for introducing the Red Mage fully into their society. The Red Mages are still a very fringe sort of, it's passed from one master to the next, essentially. So she could receive it for being the most proficient Red Mage. So they could show up with Archon marks on them for that reason. Maybe they went back and they got their Archon marks. So in that regard, yeah, I'd say so. It's entirely possible they will get their Archon marks. Alright, I'm falling behind on the comments now. Jesus. If they destroy Treno with all the cute Lala, we riot. I was so scared at the end of last patch. You're not alone. Dan, you're not alone. I don't want Treno to die, but it's in the pit of my stomach that Treno is going down. The Night Reflection is going with them, unfortunately. I have a feeling we're going to save them. Like, I have a feeling that before the Night Reflection goes poof, we're going to use the key to introduce interdimensional fusion to bring living memory back to sit upon the top of Everkeep once again. And it's going to be an arc for us to get the Lalafeld out of Treno before everything goes to hell. That's my opinion. So I am also of the opinion we're going to save the Lalafelds. I mean, Alexandria looks like the Dalit radio tower from the start. Strange they would just inject FF8 Doom Train. I can see where you're going with that, Defender. To be perfectly honest, like, take a look at this for a second, right? So, hang on. Final Fantasy Doom Train. See, the thing is, Doom Train has already been introduced twice into Final Fantasy XIV. We got the Doom Train from Final Fantasy III, I think. But to be fair, like, they wanted to... Yeah, so we got the Phantom Train. So the Phantom Train, the Doom Train, they're potato. So we got the Phantom Train, and then we got the Doom Train. Now, the Doom Train is mostly in Final Fantasy VIII. So he's the most cool depiction of the Doom Train that we've seen by far. Like, you can see his original fight, for example. So this is his original summon. It mirrors his fight in 14 as well. So it was based on this. And then he comes through. Boom, boom. Roadkill. Yeah. So, it was the coolest way to introduce you to a train. That's the reason we got to a train like that. Let's see. Delling City is always night like Treno. That's true. But Treno is night because of the Mist Continent. I think. Kind of. Delling City is always night. So, yeah, the night reflection doesn't have a day or night anymore because of the lightning. They just have that weird kind of in-between. Delling City is true. It's nighttime always there. I would love something like Delling City to come true, though. I think Helmut will do whatever nature proclamation is. Chaotic neutral. Yeah, chaotic neutral is a good way of describing Helmut. Nature's proclamation as well is something that's very interesting as well. We still haven't gotten an exact answer about that. Hello. Let's see. I like the idea of being neutral, not friend or foe, exactly as you explained. Yeah, I like the way that she's like that. The withering is happening because of the death of both ancient primals and the shards have come to loose on the metaphysical core of the planet. Zodiac pulled in an attempt at healing, Heidelin pushed. Yeah, I said that in my last video. I still am a proponent of the theory. Oh, thank you, Ashelly. I appreciate that. I love when occasionally people come up to me like this. It's like, yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. If you're watching right now, hey, I appreciate that. Let me actually just say it. It really does mean more than I know when I get that. Thank you. The withering, yeah. So yeah, I'm still a proponent of, now that Zodiac is gone, the pull that kept the reflections together is gone. So it's in my last video. If you haven't seen my last video, watch my last theory video, because I go into that in more detail. Alright, let's continue here. So, I keep getting distracted. I'm like a puppy. I just get distracted. Let's see. Calyx as a long-standing antagonist is so good. Calyx is a weird one. Calyx is... What's the best way of describing Calyx? Calyx is like Vegemite. You either love him or you hate him. So... yeah, Calyx, or what's Vegemite is an Australian thing. Marmite. Calyx is Marmite. You either love Calyx or you hate Calyx. So technically we can be the Archon of being the best Warrior of Light Dark. I don't think the Sharlayans don't even know what the Warrior of Light is. Do you remember when we first went to Sharlayan and the lady at the border, when we told her we're like the champion of Eorzea warrior, I think we called ourselves champion of Eorzea. She barely recognized that. I don't even know if they even recognize the Warrior of Light. Would it be a profession? It's more like a... It's more like a position that we kind of... I mean, I suppose, but we're not... I think the crux of it is you have to be a Sharlayan citizen to be an Archon. We're not a Sharlayan citizen. So that's the main thing. I think the withering is a symptom of something more. The Aya talked about the death of the universe, which implies something beyond Hydaelyn and Zodiac. Yeah, the Aya are an interesting one in that the Aya learned the truth of the universe itself and how it's eventually going to die, and they kind of took it really hard in the regard of, like, to be fair, their existential crisis, it's Endwalker in general. Endwalker's theme was death, essentially. So they referenced multiple ways that people lose faith, how people die, and grief. Yeah, death and grief were the two main themes of Endwalker. So the Aya, theirs is a... it chimes onto something that a lot of people feel. So a lot of people will look at the vast scope of the universe and just go, I'm just a tiny speck in a completely vast universe that's completely indifferent. What's the point of doing anything if the universe is just going to burn out? I mean, our sun is going to die in a few billion years once it burns through all its fuel. I mean, I know that. I mean, I'm not even going to be dust by the time that happens. I mean, I understand that. I don't let it affect me. But there's a lot of people who will view that sort of mindset and have it just like, if we're just going to die, what the hell's the point? Like, there's a lot of people who actually feel that way. So, Endwalker kind of chimed on that, and they used the Aya to chime on that. But, yeah, I do see your point. I've gone a bit philosophical there, I'm sorry. Let's see. I love his motivations, and now he wants to help, but he does it the wrong way. Being the smuggest person in Who's the smuggest in Charlie? I'm getting so far behind the comments now. Shit. Okay. Let me see. It's the trend. They endure, you say characters, and kill them off with a twist of the knife. Oh. Yeah, that's Treno you're talking about. Yeah. I think it is 100% going to happen, to be honest. That's why I think everyone should do the Fisher quest. Okay, Max, I'll do the Fisher quest. I really should do the Fisher quest. Calyx is centuries old. Oh, Jesus Christ! Don't say it. I hate Marmite. Right? Do you want me to do personal story time? Do you want to know why I hate? Right? I've said Marmite and Vegemite. My friends all know this already, but I hate Marmite. And it's not just the fact that I don't like Marmite. I hate Marmite. Whenever I go to a supermarket and I see a jar of Marmite, I get extremely angry. And I'll tell you why. When I was a kid, I was a pretty... I wasn't an annoying child, but I got up to mischief and I did things I shouldn't do. We all do that, to be honest. But I grew up with a mother and 3 sisters who were significantly older than I am. So when I was, for example, 8, 9, and 10, my sisters were in their 20s. So essentially, I grew up with 4 mothers. Now, whenever I cursed or did something that I wasn't supposed to do or got in trouble or something like that, they had a way of disciplining me. It wasn't a slap. It wasn't grounding me. I don't even remember ever getting grounded. They had a very specific way of disciplining me. And that was Vegemite. So I had relatives. It was specifically Vegemite, not Marmite. It was Vegemite. So it's the same thing, but it's Vegemite in Australia. So my relatives in Australia would bring Vegemite over. And my family, specifically my mother and my sisters, would use it to punish me. So if I did something wrong, what would happen was they'd end up all grabbing me, they'd pin me to the ground, they'd get a spoon of Vegemite and they'd pry my mouth open and shove the Vegemite into my mouth. It was absolutely freaking disgusting. And I hated every time it happened. Did it help me to grow? No. Fuck no. But it traumatized me. It borderline traumatized me. So anytime I see a jar of Marmite, I can't help but think about that horrible fucking taste whenever they shove that spoon of Vegemite down my throat. So whenever somebody says, oh, I'm going to have this Marmite on bread, I just go... Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting thing. Like, Marmite is just a weird thing that you either love it or hate it. And I hate it. Like, if I got a genie's lamp, one of my wishes would be to erase Marmite from existence. Okay, right, that's enough personal lore. Let's go back to actual lore. For the trend of you endear your characters killed them off, twisted the knife. Yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. We're gonna lose Treno. I'm sorry, I don't want to lose Treno, but we're gonna lose Treno. They deliver their memories to the MC to grow it, and to return the MC creates eidolons to protect itself. So if a soul in the night was recycled to the MC, it created Doom Train from the soul. Ooh, you're very philosophical, Defender. Treno has a dude's death flag above it, yeah. That's why everything to do with fish. Yeah, so this is where I stopped. Okay, last theory for me tonight. The Calamity's elements followed elemental wheel clockwise from wind. They kind of did, but it kind of skewered off halfway through. Then pure astral on the 7th Calamity of the 7th. By pure astral, I assume you mean astral and umbral. So every element has 2 states. They have a passive and an active state. The lightning on the 9th, I feel like it's... Well, it looks more active than anything else, doesn't it? Although there's a fair amount of passivity to it. That would make a lot of sense. Question is, did the Assassins do it on purpose or just spin the wheel a few times? The Assassins did everything according to a design. So they did everything. They had to do their rejoinings exactly right. Now, they didn't really care what the elements were being introduced into the source. They'd all stabilize eventually. They just cared about getting these rejoinings to happen. So the elemental alignments was the one way they got it to happen. I feel like the AA are more talking about the actual real world concept of heart death of the universe. Well, to be fair, our own universe is going to die eventually. So all the stars are going to burn out eventually. There's going to be no stars left. Unless there's a Big Bang 2.0. But we still don't even know what caused the Big Bang. It's a subject that will hurt your brain if you think about it too much. I feel like the air... oh, yeah, I've already said that. Does everyone remember that fish in Ultima Thule who was watching and is suspected to be from another dimension? I remember that fish. Yeah, the little fish guy who everybody thought was... To be fair, we've been visited by a lot of different characters from different dimensions. Least of which is Gilgamesh. 2 versions of him, actually. That's why I'm not so certain Highland Zodiac coming over, though the Withering probably could speed up due to that. The AA could have found something terrible we don't know yet. It's entirely plausible. Something to look into. I think I'll look into that. That leaves 6 shards remaining to be rejoined. 1 for each element. Defender, we don't know that. I don't think there's 6 shards of us active at the moment. Like, the shards of our soul have to be reincarnated. So they have to be reborn in the body of somebody new. Like our soul reincarnated over the years. But there has to be an equivalent of Ardbert on one of the reflections. But don't forget, like the 9th reflection, for example, most of the 9th reflection's population are dead. So we don't even know whether or not our soul reincarnated or not. For all we know, Calyx was our incarnation before he kicked the bucket. Just saying. I mean, I thought Kryl was at one point, but her soul's pretty dense, so I don't think it's her. I do apologize for going into philosophy. This is a lore theories live, kind of why we're here. Do not apologize about going into philosophy. Yeah, I just don't want to bore people. Give us the Marmite veg. Yeah, I gave you the Marmite lore. Yeah, there you go. Now we're going to concentrate on the source and lightning blob and heritage found. The blob, the dome. Certain areas of the source over aspects with lightning. Yeah, so Defender, if you haven't watched my last video, watch my last video. I actually went into this subject as well, so it might give you a lot of insight into it. Each terminal has an element. The Assassins found out how the source was sundered. Living memory is indeed a failed stone in that aspect. However, they had semi-permanent immortality and just didn't get to the point of endless fuel. That's true. That's true. They did unlock immortality. Like, Endwalker showed us that a lot of civilizations, they strove for immortality. And a lot of them achieved it, but they lost the essence of life as a result. And the Omicrons can teach us a lot about the futility of making yourself a digital existence. So, the people of the 9th reflection, like Calyx for example, and Endless, he's very similar to an Omicron in certain ways. Valid reason for... Yeah, there's everybody's valid reason for me hating Vegemite. Yeah, of course. Let's see. Kodama Vanan's reason for sundering. It's all Vana. It's always been Vana. Yeah, it kind of always has been Vana. Vana is still... She's still there in the story. She's still in the middle of the story, to be honest. Idea. We need to transport Treno away while the area in which it resides gets either destroyed or rejoined. Well, remember when we went to the ground of the night, there was just a giant crater where Alexandria used to be. Teleporting Treno to Aetheris is not impossible. They did it with the key and they didn't have full control of the key. So us being able to transport the entirety of Treno from the Ninth to Aetheris is plausible. Very plausible. But I think they'd rather do it with Living Memory because Living Memory is an active zone of Final Fantasy XIV. Wouldn't a full rejoining of all the shards and similar densities theoretically cause Big Bang 2? I don't know what it would cause, actually, to be honest. I mean, rejoinings themselves are weird. Like, if we were looking at the rejoining, or if we were looking at the sunderings, rather, if we looked at the sunderings from a scientific aspect, they don't make a lick of sense at all. I mean, they defy all manner of physics. For one, how do you keep planets the same size, yet create 13 more without any materials to make up the mass? Like, where'd the materials come from? I'm assuming it's aether, magic aether coming into being, but that doesn't make sense, does it? So, in that regard, you can't just like make 13 worlds out of one world without that world getting smaller. Yeah, it's Doctor Who timey-wimey, essentially. What would happen if we introduced the endless to the Omicrons? I'd actually love that. I'd love to see that. I think they'd actually, well, the Omicrons are more, they think more like error, does not compute, kind of Star Wars drone sort of thing, but it'd be an interesting interaction. Idea, and stick with me. Alright, 7.55 is going to be the equivalent to Doctor Who 50th Special. If you were suddenly teleported to Treno, the calculations could take hundreds of years, except that they started a long time ago in Alexandria. That would assume they had the ability to use the key, though. I mean, I know where you're going. I love the 50th anniversary special, of course. Before everything went south. Oh God, Doctor Who. Why did you fail? Why did you fall so hard, Doctor Who? Oh God. I'm not gonna cry. I mean, it's plausible, but I don't really see them doing that. I mean, it's nice to think about, but Banch-Tarski thing, making two spheres out of one. I'm assuming that's a scientific term. I'm not a scientist, I'm an engineer. I don't really understand the theoretical aspects. You know how in WoW, every time there is always an order and a bunch of gods behind the gods and orders you to, you know, and it's layers and layers of that. I really hope they don't pull that in 14. Max, I think that's already there. I know what you're talking about. I haven't played WoW for, God, a long time. Like, I started WoW in vanilla. I haven't played WoW in a long time. I'm familiar with the story. I know the story's kind of jumped a shark 5 or 6 times since I stopped in Cataclysm, I think? No, not Cataclysm. I stopped in, what's the one before Cataclysm? Wrath of the Lich King. Because that's when 1.0 came out. Then I came back for Cataclysm for a bit. Then I jumped back to Final Fantasy XIV once 2.0 launched. I get where you're coming from in that regard. I can see where you're going with this. Like, we kind of have, like, we feel like we have a kind of like a beat on how things are supposed to be ordered in our universe in Final Fantasy XIV, so we have a good grasp on how things work. So upsetting it is entirely plausible. They'll introduce something that we didn't even know existed. Entirely plausible. I mean, for all I know, they could go full dark side, light side of the Force sort of thing. Like, I mean, they haven't really discussed Dynamis since the end of Endwalker. Plausible though. For me, the laws of physics and science mean nothing in a fantasy game where things can be completely different. That's true. You can't think about these in scientific terms. You have to realize this is a game about stretching the limits of our imaginations, not stretching the limits of physics. If you knew that at some point your world would end due to the Levin crisis, even if you didn't have the key, you could still make the theory of plausibility. That's true, Sabori. I think you are right in that regard, but would it need too many calculations? Like, we don't know how long it took them to calculate being able to use the key to transport Alexandria, so they might not need that much time. I mean, time, as far as we're aware, moved faster on the 9th. Not sure though. We know it moved faster in the dome, but that might have been an after effect of the dome. Okay, I think there are parallels, but that's it. Wait a second. Couldn't we literally use the echo to see the reason behind a writing found in the system that Shale is going through? Saboria, you're actually 100% correct. However, they've really lessened on the echo in the past few years. I mean, think about it for a second. Vana taught us the truth of the echo. She taught us how to use it, or to manually use it. But since then, we haven't manually used the echo ourselves. It's entirely possible for us to be able to do that, but we haven't utilized it. It's a weird thing that Vana helped us to use the echo manually in order to see what we needed to see, as the way she was able to do it. But since then, we haven't utilized that ability. I mean, yeah, we needed Vana, of course, but the first time being able to manually trigger it ourselves, we should have started to learn how to actually manually trigger that in order to actually learn, because it triggers on its own when we randomly pass by something in particular. Alright, the last echo experience we had, as I recall, was in Preservation's laboratory. So yeah, it's something they forgot, which we really should start using the echo more. It's a great thing that we should be using. I mean, in the Elpis dungeon, they separated entire environments by barriers. So how do Vana, Sundered, and Sourced by splitting it based on that technology? They're aetherically separate, Defender. By the way, her explanation of the Echo manual trick is actually according to FF9 memories, genetic memory, and the world memory. Yeah, you're not wrong, actually. Now that you mention it like that, it actually is very similar to that. It's bizarre how underutilized that is. Yeah, the Echo is very underutilized. The Echo was utilized every few minutes in A Realm Reborn, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, even Shadowbringers. Endwalker, we used it a little bit. It started to taper off, and then we started just utilizing it less and less. Like, we haven't really used it that much in Dawntrail. It's come out a few times, but not much. By the way, yeah, so her explanation of the... yeah, so we already mentioned that. So, yeah, that's a good point that Defender makes in that regard. But unfortunately, we still haven't fully been able to utilize it the way we want to. So we'd need the sender to put in a lot of emotional energy, dynamis, or aether into the preservation of it. I'm assuming you're talking about Treno still. It's reasonable. We're the ones that are going to have to use the key. The key is with us now. Fate has guided it to our hands. But yeah, utilizing the key is going to need information that's in Preservation's records. We're going to... My theory is... This is my theory. We're going to be going through Preservation's laboratory again. We'll see probably a tablet lying on the ground. We'll pick it up. We'll look at it. The echo will trigger. We'll see what's on this tablet. Maybe we'll see a Layla or Robor using it. And then the echo will end and we'll hand over the thing to Shale. She's going, oh, this is going to help. Or when she discovers the information, it's going to trigger in the Preservation's laboratory. That's the important part. Our last echo experience happened in Preservation's laboratory, so it depends on the etheric energy around us, because the memories are kind of trapped in those kind of things. Like, you have to go to the particular location, then they trigger. Yeah, so in 7.5, we're going to learn to use the key. But we don't know exactly how we're going to use it. You've seen my last 3 videos, and if you haven't seen my last 3 videos, I highly recommend you watch them, because I went into a lot of these theories there. Maybe we're going to Lindblom or Burmecia ruins now that train tracks are safe for travel. Defender, I thought about that as well, actually. Lindblom, I would have loved to see Lindblom, but in my opinion, they've done a lot of mentioning Lindblom and dancing around Lindblom, but they can't introduce Lindblom for one reason. It would require a massive amount of effort to introduce Lindblom into Final Fantasy XIV. They could probably introduce it as pictures, because if you think about Lindblom in Final Fantasy IX, it's a gigantic place with airships and technology and everywhere. Imagine having to design that. It would have taken far too many resources to do it. So I think the most we're going to get of Lindblom is either a dungeon, which is entirely plausible. We got Treno as a dungeon. We could get Lindblom as a dungeon. Or we're going to get just slides of it. Or maybe an echo experience or something. I think Lindblom will be side content, deep dungeon or something. If the Night Reflection survives, yeah, possibly. God, I'm getting hiccups. Okay, what if the echo is an important part of being able to use the key fully? But if you are misaligned, you can send it or yourself away, but not both. Hair in my mouth. What if the echo is an important part of being able to use the key fully? Well, the echo is not really like that. It doesn't grant us the ability to use or not use things. It doesn't really act like that. It gives us a specific set of abilities. I mean, some people have unique gifts with the echo. Like, we can see into the past. Some people are gifted with the echo to see into the future. It's not beyond the realm of possibility, but just in my mind, I can't picture it, but it is plausible. Actually, it's too early. Maybe at 9.0, they see that there's no other solution that's creating a new Will of the Star, and it's Mega Geeky Chat Proxy. I'm still of the opinion that 9.0 is going to be Mericidia. I'd like it to be fully focused on Mericidia, but I don't think it will be. You never know, though. Lindblom will be an awesome side content that's at the floating island in Ishgard. They already have the Sky Pirates. If you think about it, Ishgard and Lindblom have a lot in common. The only difference is the more airships and more steampunk. They could do Lindblom but super destroy so they can make it as small as possible, or a dungeon. That's a very good point. It could be completely demolished, because we do know that they said Lindblom didn't survive the Storm Surge, so it could be a ruin. Y'shtola volunteers so she can live forever and learn about everything. I mean, I think Y'shtola would be fine about that, to be honest. She would like to live forever just to learn everything. I mean, she looked at the Aya and she was just like, you guys are weak. I would have loved to have learned that. And to be fair, they told us. They were a lot smarter than us. But they did tell us the truth of the universe's fate. It didn't make us go, oh my god, what's the point? Everything's gonna get done. Yeah, we didn't do that. Y'shtola didn't do that. She's still very thirsty for knowledge. Fair. So maybe Burmecia. If it's suddenly a prison, I'm calling FF8. I mean, I'd love more FF8 references. Like, there's so many locations in FF8 that could be brilliant. The gardens, least of which, although we kind of got the gardens with Eden. Delling City, the prison, entirely plausible. I mean, you can kind of see the... I mean, Solution 9 is definitely inspired by Esther. So that's where we got, like... Solution 9 is a mixture of Alexandria and Esther, essentially. Mercedes will probably be tied with the 13th or fused. Can you elaborate on that? Or do we need to presume that the key connects 2 points in time, in present time, at the time of activation, or could you use the echo? I can't answer that, Siboria, because we don't know enough about the key yet. I'm more concerned about what happens after Mercidia. I mean, this is supposed to be another last 5 to 10 years. They can't solve the plots so soon after all. Let me show you something for a second. So this is a project I need to finish, to be honest. I was planning to do this. I'll probably, do you know what? I think in my next live stream I'll probably do this. But let me show you this real quick. So I drew, well, I didn't draw, but I pasted together a much higher quality map of the current world of FF14. Where the hell is it? Where did I put it? I put it somewhere. And it's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Is it that? No, it's not that. Shit, where's my high quality map gone? Damn it. Hello? Where's my map? Oh, hang on. Aetheris. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So yeah, so I made a high quality map of Aetheris. So it's much higher quality than the ones that you can get online. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mapping this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out all the locations that we visited, and specifically the dungeon locations we've also visited on the map, to give you kind of like, I process information better when I'm looking at it. So I can think about certain things like that, but unless I'm looking at something, it's part of what makes me a good engineer. I just prefer the physical looking at something in order to fix it. But what I'm going to do with this map is I'm going to put all the locations we visited, and it'll give a good outline of all the places we haven't visited. So for example, Mericidia is still on the table to visit. Corvos, much of the Iltibard continent is unexplored. You've got Ersland and the other islands all over here. You've got Blindfrost over here. You've got the Watching the Face, the Unbroken or the Broken or something. The Galvet as well over here. There's certain parts of this part of Italy. So you've got Vanadis. You've got over here as well. So there's so much of this map that we haven't seen. So there's so much of Aetheris that's still on the table. I mean, we've got... This could be an expansion of its own. Mercidia could be an expansion of its own. Like, these aspects could teach us more about the old world. Over here as well. Like, there's so much of it. Like, there's this island over here. We don't know what the island is. There's parts of Yoctoral and Yactoral that we haven't explored yet. Like, we've gotten as far as here. But there's still all of this real estate that we haven't explored, and there's still all this real estate down here that we haven't explored. There's so much of this world that is yet to be explored. So we're going to be able to see all of that as well. I wonder if there's a China anywhere on the map that we don't know about. China got turned into Evilise. Max. Right now, a 10.0 something, but not too soon. Solution 9 seems to be a blue Coruscant to me. Course, I'd look. That's a good way of putting it. It's like a blue Coruscant. Although Coruscant is Siboria, let's be honest, Coruscant is a fucking hellscape. I'd never want to go to Coruscant. That's probably the one place I'd never want to go. Because one, I'm not rich. I'd end up on the lower levels, and the lower levels are a hellscape. I think it's the first time I've ever had very little clues about the future. 6.0 content closed a lot of what remaining threads. That's true, Max, because as I said earlier, Dawn Trail is a fresh slate. It's a blank slate. It's a new book. So it's being written right now. So we don't have many answers regarding the next expansion. But after that expansion, pieces will start getting filled in a lot more. So, Golbez wants to invade the source, which is now void, so deeply connected to Bear City and allies. But with the key and the withering in the background, this would probably be a possibility. True. How do you think an Aetherist Got Talent would go? Aetherist Got Talent? I don't even watch. I don't even watch the actual reality show, to be honest. I mean, good side quest, I guess. Especially how they tie into the game, so it's likely split locations instead of focusing on one continent, which is unlikely. It's entirely plausible, because think about Endwalker, it focused on multiple places, so they could... But Mare City is just so large that it could be many zones in its own way. I made a video on Mare City, so I recommend you give that a look as well. And the 13th can't be traversed, but it can when they fuse. We still don't know about the 13th, to be honest. Like, I don't even know if it's in a position to fuse, to be honest. So, possible. Yeah, as Max said, is there a China anywhere? Yeah, China is Evil East now. Don't tell China that though. Something I never got about Iltibard. The Garlean Empire is like a century old, but Alamigo is a couple of centuries old, and traded with Iltibard for centuries. How do we know so little about it? To be fair, lore-wise in-game, they know a lot about Iltibard. They just haven't told us. We're the only ones that don't know. The characters in-game know a lot about Iltibard. The only one who don't know about Iltibard is the poor warrior of light standing here, because they haven't deemed fit to tell us, which pisses me off. I fully agree with you on Coruscant, not to mention I hate I hate heights. Yeah, I mean Coruscant's horrible. A Loporrit would win. True. If I think they would bring back the Heart of Sabik. Yes. I said this in... I made a video about the Heart of Sabik as well. So if you haven't watched that video, there's a video about the Heart of Sabik on my channel. It's still a point of like, what the hell were they thinking about the Heart of Sabik? It's gonna come back. I guarantee you. It's gonna come back with Claudine gone absolutely schizo. But it's gonna come back eventually. The only way I see us visiting more than one continent is if something there restricts our progress. And possibly you gotta connect to portals, let's say from the source and night to the source. It's entirely plausible, Saboria, but the issue is with Mericidia, we don't know the status of Mericidia, so it's too early to answer that. I've made some theories in my Mericidia video, so I recommend you watch that. So most of what you're asking, I've actually elaborated on in that video. But the crux of it is, they've had thousands of years since the war with the Allegan Empire to rebuild and grow. So it's entirely plausible we're about to encounter a advanced civilization based, like an allag of the modern era is what I called it. In my video, I called Mericidia's people a potential allag of the modern era. So it's entirely possible that's what we'll end up seeing. Let's see, possibly connects to a source. I think the Golbez and crew just wanted to go to the source to die, which is a bit anticlimactic, but since the 13 souls contain lots of souls in one, yeah, you're not wrong. Golbez's generals wanted to go to the, well, some of them wanted to go to Aetheris to die. So you're not wrong about that. The Heart of Sabik is now stuck in side quest hell. You're not wrong about that either. It got stuck in the Pandemonium raid series, unfortunately. So it's kind of in purgatory, unfortunately. Pandemonium. Yeah, that's another example of side quests kind of doing the MSQ dirty. But considering the Heart of Sabik started in the MSQ, there's still room for it to just jump back out. So they could just make Pandemonium mandatory, which I don't see anything wrong with that, but the MSQ is long enough as it is for new players. I don't think they're going to be liking that. I just hope we get there before they also fall for the Allegan's ego. What do you mean by that? And the 13th has to be used in one way or another, but the void itself is just a fallen world with tiny pocket islands. Yeah, we don't really know the status of the void. The void is like, it's darkness, so it has a ground, but it's just soaked in darkness, and it has these floating islands for some reason. They gave us the floating islands for one reason, and the floating palaces and stuff like that, because they didn't want to show us the ground of the 13th. We don't know what the status of the 13th is, to be honest. It's just so heavily deep in darkness that we don't really actually have a proper picture of it. Even standing in the 13th corrupts you, so it's just a poisonous freaking toad of a world. They have to rebuild their society and begin with and stopping them from making similar mistakes with their methods. I mean, to be fair, we also have just random floating islands on the source. You're not wrong. We do have a lot of floating islands on the source. But I do think the 13th is going to come into play, especially if the next expansion is about the reflections. The 13th and the 1st are definitely going to come into play, because they're two worlds. Even though the 1st is doing better, it's still heavily aspected to light. So it got better on the 1st because they actually drew a lot of light aspected aether away from the 1st over to the 13th. That's a process that needs to continue in order to rebalance all the other worlds, and I think it's how they're actually going to help balance the aspected aether of the night reflection. So it is a theory we could actually fall back on. And you know what? I think we're probably going to leave it there. I've been sitting here for almost 3 hours now. It's not really good. You should not sit for more than an hour, especially at my age. But is there any other topics you want to go through just before I finish? Would it be a good way to bring back the Shadowbringers cast back into the MSQ to potentially stabilize the verse? What if the deal with the 1st and the 13th is that you need to become the 14th? What if the deal with the 1st and the 13th is that they need to become the 14th? Are you talking about the 1st and the 13th merging? It's plausible. I mean, the 1st, like, I could see the 13th merging with the 1st, which could introduce a stabilization because light and darkness kind of cancel each other out. So it could actually stabilize the 1st reflection. It might actually be a way for... See, it's a way for the 13th to be, well, dealt with. And it's also a way of putting the tortured souls of the 13th Void Saints, and to be fair, a lot of them are tortured. It's a way of putting them to rest. So they'd be entirely turned to aether and then just dead. So a lot of them would welcome that. It's very plausible now that I think about it. You've chimed onto something very good there. Like, if there is a threat to the reflections rejoining, for example, the 13th merging with the 1st could resolve the 1st rejoining. And maybe what remains of people who actually have proper minds in terms of Void Sent on the 13th could be evacuated before that happened. Eden is dormant. Eden's not shut down. Eden's asleep. It's not dead. It's kind of in limbo without Metron inside it. But it's not completely dead. It's offline, of course. It is shut down in that regard. But it could be reactivated again. I assume Wyrm would have something to do with that, though. Kind of like Zodiac or Elidibus. What do you mean by that? Eden is right. They both tiny portions of what they lost, and the goal could be in equilibrium. Kind of like Zodiac with Elidibus. Yeah, Elidibus was the heart of Zodiac, and to be fair, he still was. He separated himself from Zodiac. See, that's the weird thing about Elidibus. Like, we treat Elidibus Elidibus is a weird character. Like, a lot of people treat Elidibus like he's just an Unsundered. And to be fair, Fandaniel calls him an Unsundered as well. But think about Elidibus like this. He's not actually like that. He's a different sort of creature entirely. He was essentially a ancient, an Unsundered, would call him, let's just call him an ancient. He sacrificed himself, similar to the way Vana sacrificed herself to become the heart of a primal. So he did that, and he became the heart of Zodiac. Then, in order to help his brethren, he separated himself from Zodiac and manifested himself as a corporeal being once again. So he technically... Elidibus was technically a primal in that case. He's technically a part of Zodiac. He's the heart of Zodiac. He's always been the heart of Zodiac. He just separated himself from Zodiac. But he was still always the heart of Zodiac himself. That's why Zodiac was... That's why he was very dormant when he was in the moon. Not just because he was in stasis and locked away. Locked away was only part of it. This is why Fandaniel threw himself into Zodiac to become the heart of Zodiac. And Zodiac then jumps up and activates. Now, we don't know exactly how that played out for Elidibus in terms of, for example, how did Zodiac fight Hydaelyn without Elidibus? I don't think it did. I think Elidibus actually rejoined with Zodiac as his heart, fought Hydaelyn, but separated himself again either as the Sundering was happening or before the Sundering happened. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall, separated himself, yeeted himself into the rift, and then the Sundering went blap. And Zodiac was essentially a body without a heart at that point. So, yeah. Elidibus was Zodiac's own organ transplants. Kind of. It's just that we don't really know why, but early summonings like that required somebody to be the heart of the summoning itself. Like the primals that we're familiar with they're kind of like defective, but they didn't require these sort of hearts. But we have seen other beings become hearts for primals before. We saw it with what's her face? With Steppy Girl with the heels. What the hell is her face again? Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi was an example of somebody becoming the heart of a primal. We saw Reen do it, for example, when she became Shiva. And most popular of all, we saw Hydaelyn do it. Or we saw Vana do it. So Vana was always existing within Hydaelyn. So technically Hydaelyn and Zodiac, or Hydaelyn and Vana are two separate beings. Vana was within her. Could have separated herself from Hydaelyn at any time, but didn't. They're essentially just two beings. You have an etheric primal being and then Vana. But Vana was the dominant personality, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. It was a very different summoning. And of course you need more Lalas to operate their primal than one Elidibus. I think the heart is also in the context of becoming core personality, like you would. Elidibus to be Zodiac is the best choice to unite people. That's very true, Luffy. That's actually very true. Another idea just struck me. If the people of Treno try to overcome the Levin by wanting to summon the Lord of Levin, becoming his heart organs. The issue is, Saboria, they don't have the knowledge to summon primals. So nobody in Treno, as far as we're aware, has that knowledge. It's entirely plausible Halmroch could give someone the knowledge to do it. Yeah, not yet, as you said. She could give them the knowledge. She gave Calix the knowledge, or at least somebody gave Calix the knowledge. We're going to assume it's Halmroch. It's entirely plausible. I mean, I'd love to see something similar to Ramu show up again. I wouldn't mind that at all. Although we technically already got a lightning aspected primal with Necron. Technically wasn't lightning aspected, but he used lightning aspected Aether to become what he was. Here's the question. What was the deal with that one random Sahagin that Elidibus made immortal during the Leviathan section? That was potentially Elidibus trying to bring back an Overlord. Are you talking about the High Priest guy? The Sahagin with the big clamshell on his head? Oh, what was his name? Yeah, he kind of said he was immortal. I don't think he was immortal, to be honest. Although, to be fair, immortality takes a lot of different forms in FF14. For example, the Alligans unlocked immortality, or specifically Amon unlocked immortality, so it's entirely plausible that Elizabeth used the same techniques that made them immortal. Now, keep in mind that reincarnation doesn't discriminate by species. You can reincarnate as a different species entirely. We're pretty certain Lalafels didn't exist, for example, back in the day. Although Meteor is probably not a good comparison, because Meteor by default is a Hume, which is similar to an ancient. Namazu Asian Wen. Yeah, I know, tell me about it. But yeah, souls can reincarnate as different species, so it's entirely plausible he could have done that, because as far as we're aware, they granted immortality in some way or another to the Asian overlords so that they wouldn't age anymore. It doesn't stop them from dying, of course, it just stops them from aging, so long as they keep that physical body. But if they end up traveling into the rift again, they abandon that body, and then they have to go back to that body eventually. We do know how to summon primals without risk of tempering. We do now. But what would we do with it? Like, for example, like Calix's way of summoning, he only learned to summon the incorrect way. The people who know how to summon the correct way are us. We haven't really shared that information with anybody else. I mean, the only people who would know the actual proper way of summoning these days are the people of Sharlayan, us as the Scions, and the main representatives of the main allied tribes that summoned the primals at the close to the conclusion of Endwalker. How do you do the essence transfer? Right, I need to go to bed because it's almost 10 o'clock and I need to go to work tomorrow. So we could see a Final Fantasy IX Burmesian world like Shard. I would love the Burmesians to enter the game, you know that? Because I know we're not going to get another playable race, I get it. But having the Burmesians added to Final Fantasy XIV would be great. I mean, there's something I would love to see. I mean, we don't have anything like them. I would love to see one. I mean, they've always been a fascinating race to me, the Burmesians and the Clarence, which are the same race, essentially. How do you talk to a hurricane of lightning? With respects. Now, to be fair, think about it. Think about the Treno fight. When you're fighting the Griffin, it's one of its main attacks called Storm Surge summons a lightning tornado. I'm gonna imagine that's what the Storm Surge was like, a giant freaking F5 lightning tornado just tearing everything apart. That's what I imagine the end of the Storm Surge was like. Would they be very pretty? The Burmesians would be a very pretty race. Like, remember the Burmesians, hang on. Like, remember Freya. Freya was a very pretty character. Like the dancers, for example. Like, the dancers were all pretty. Like their design was just great. I love their design. Freya in particular was an amazing design. Where's Freya? Hang on. Freya. Like, Freya was an amazing design. Like, remember Freya. Freya was amazing. Amazing design. Like, most of her... She was mostly covered up with her armor, which was perfect, to be honest. But amazing design. I thought they did her extremely well. She was one of the main things I remembered about Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX's Freya deserves more attention. Look at that. That's a perfect way of saying it. Like, I would love Freya to actually appear in Final Fantasy XIV. due to the nature of what our character is. She'd be an amazing addition to FF14. I mean, I know we already have a Dragoon, but second Dragoon would be cool. You can't have too many Dragoon. Freya made me realize I had a thing for Dragoons. I'm assuming you main Dragoon then at some point. Like, Navaki, I respect that, because most people who are Dragoons have a thing for Estinian. What if Beastmaster could be part of the key for the solution to salvation of Treno? What if Beastmaster actually came from Treno? I mean, we know we have Beastmaster at home. Like, people are all like, I want Beastmaster. We have Beastmaster at home. It could be plausible. I mean, Burmesians could possibly do it. I mean, if there was any race I want from Final Fantasy IX, it would be Quina. I mean, imagine getting Quina. I mean, who doesn't want Quina? I mean, Quina is just amazing. I loved Quina's character. She was just so derpy and just like, I'm gonna eat you and I'm gonna eat everything. Like, I loved her character. Like, she wasn't in the story enough, in my opinion. I mean, she is a blue mage after all, so derpy character. It was 9 was just a unique game. Quina could be the culinarian's teacher. Exactly, yeah. She could teach you more culinary lessons. She could even marry Vivi. And look, there's the dwarves. Look, lally-ho. Or they said rally-ho back in the day. Quina gave you nightmares as a kid? But why? All she'd want to do is, like, gobble. To be fair, she'd probably gobble you down without even chewing. So, yeah, she'd probably eat you, and she wouldn't even chew. I mean, a polar bear would chew you. She'd just freaking swallow you. But yeah, great character. I love that race. Great race. The tongue is just so derpy as well. Like, the tongue is just so huge. I mean, look at her. She's so cute. I always love that character. Oh, especially that picture. Like, Quina. Oh, that's a mad art of her. Wow. I'm assuming that's one of our early art depictions. Like a culinarian Lickitung. If Lickitung was dressed up as a chef, exactly. Right, I'm going to bed. I need to go to bed because I'm tired. So, yeah, I appreciate you all coming, and we discussed a lot of lore tonight. I had fun. I'm gonna do another stream soon. I need to decide on my next video. But as I was saying earlier, like, my channel's always been about making lore videos and theory videos. Well, actually no. In the beginning, my channel was about making lore videos, theory videos, and live event videos. Now, I stopped making live event videos once I nearly got banned from YouTube because of music within FF14. I've already explained that reason anyway. Essentially, are like the musical instruments that people use in game. For example, they do concerts and stuff like that. We know that. But the sounds that the instruments make in FF14 are actually so accurate to the actual songs that they're playing, even if they're copyrighted songs, the YouTube algorithm will actually trigger. And it did for me twice. I got 2 copyright strikes, and I lived under a rock for 6 months until they cleared. Nearly lost my channel in the early days. That's why I stopped making live event content. It's also why you don't see a lot of live event content on YouTube. You'll see it occasionally on Twitch. Twitch is probably one of the only safe places you could do it. Because if you put them on YouTube, you get flagged and you get banned. That's why you don't see a lot of live event stuff. And if it is there, they use different music. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I usually try to make a lot of theory videos and a lot of lore videos. But a lot of you seem a lot more fixated, especially now, in the theory videos. So I think I'm going to make a few more theory videos, but I'm working on some ideas for lore videos at the moment. But I want the lore videos to kind of revolve around the theory videos that I'm currently making. So maybe I'll make it about some of the specific elements of the story that have a connection or a tie-in with what we expect of the story right now and what the story is going to turn into in 8.0. So, yeah, I think I'll make another theory video, but I'm going to work on a lore video after that. So, yeah, there's that to look forward to. But I think I'm going to do another live stream at some point because I really want to do this project of filling this map out with all the dungeons and stuff like that we visited, just so I can see it all. So that's something I'm looking forward to doing. Like it's a little blurry, but it's higher quality than the other maps that you can get access to, because I had to just manually just cut it out of the game and then just patch it all together. It took me ages to patch them all together, to be honest. It's pretty seamless. It's not actually fully seamless, but it's close enough to it. I also had to squish it slightly because the world map we have in here is not actually properly aspected to screen size. It's slightly more widescreen than your actual screen. So it wouldn't fit into like a wallpaper size. But to be fair, this image is not a wallpaper size. This image is actually 3840 by 2160. Yeah, this fog is so annoying. Like the fog here, that's one, but this is so freaking annoying. But it is like a tease, and it's been there for years, and it's pissing me off. But yeah, my next stream I think will be putting all the dungeons on here, just showing every place we visited, because the dungeons actually show us the places we have visited as well. Like there's places all over this that we don't actually get to walk through, but there's dungeons that we've actually visited, like in the middle of the sea and the lighthouse down here. There's so many. Like places up north and stuff like that as well. Also, you see the arrows to the north. What arrows? Where? Wait, what are you talking about? In the fog? Yeah? See the arrows in the north, right? Up arrow and in the fog. Huh? Are you talking about this? Oh, you're talking about the flocks of birds, right? Yeah, those are burbs. But yeah, they're not burbs. They're, what are they? They're geese, or they're whatever are geese. Yeah, they have to be. What flies in formation? Actually, that's a good question. What creature in FF14 flies in V formations like that? We don't have ducks. I mean, take this on a world scale. I mean, it's obviously just drawn in. I'm just jumping at conclusions here, but let's consider it for a second. What would actually be? They're both pointing to this. Well, they kind of are. Like if you're going to go, it's kind of like here. So I love the way they labeled Corvus as well. So just hinting that Corvus is in our future, you know. So it's still cloudy, but Corvus is there, you know. So you have to pay attention to the labels they put in this latest map as well. So they labeled this place. They gave proper labels to the islands over here. They didn't label Blind Frost. Although, what does that say? That's not Eorzean. It's different from this. What does that say? Oh, that says Blind Frost. Sorry, never mind. Yeah, that's Blind Frost. Sorry. That's BL. Yeah, it says Blind Frost. Yeah, so that's... It's very south, though, isn't it? Because Blind Frost... We always thought Blind Frost was up here, but maybe Blind Frost also includes this. Because we never got a label for these islands. So maybe Blind Frost is this entire island chain. Which would make a lot of sense. Because we don't want to be kind of exploring just ice. So this... makes sense. And this as well, up here. And shipwreck over here, of course. Dragons on a medieval map, yeah. It makes sense, yeah, because it's just the fact that they had so much cloud there, they just felt like putting something over it. That's the reason. Who saw them from multiple directions? It's a good point as well. Like, to be fair, there's a lot of creatures on this map that don't make sense. I mean, the dragon makes sense. The whale doesn't make sense. This guy is the most mysterious character on the map. The giant with the giant freaking mane that kind of looks like Titan, but is holding a staff. We still don't know what the story is with that guy. There's dragons all over the map. You've got the Toral Vidral over here. You've got another dragon over here with slightly feathery, fluffy wings. That's just Jim. Oh, that's just Tim. Tim? What? Another dragon over here. Another airship over here. Yeah, you've just got these random elements. You've got Vitra over here, which is interesting. Like, the fact that Vitra is on the map over here, I guess you could call this... That's a phoenix. The fact that there's so many dragons here, this is just a nod to Tiamat and Bahamut. You've got the sea serpent here. Sea serpent here. You've got the siren, but we've already been at the siren. It's called the Siren Song Sea, which is why they put the siren there. You got turtle, giant turtle. You got another phoenix over here. You got giant turtle again. You've got the Asian dragon, which is over here, big snake. You've got normal dragon over here. We've got a big airship, or maybe just normal ship, and then back to the other dragon again. So, yeah, there's all sorts of creatures all over this, but he's definitely the most mysterious character on this map. We don't really know much about this guy, and the whale is another one. But, yeah. And there's this as well. It's not exact. This is not really clear on this map. It's not clear on any of the maps, but if you look at one of the older maps, so let me show you one of the older maps real quick. Do I have an older map? I do have an older map. Give me a second. If you look at the map of, see, they took a lot of detail out of this map when they went to this map. The Highland map. Where's my Highland map? There's my Highland map. Yeah, so this has a lot more detail, for example. So, you got the guy, you got the burbs, you've got the thing, but then you've got this. So, this one's a lot clearer, yeah. So this is the older map. You've got this floating island chain here, which looks very blurry in the other one. You've got Blind Frost, which is over here, which had the writing underneath. It's an island chain here. This one's much easier to read. Like, I don't know who made this. Somebody made this years ago. Like, I want to say they redrew it, but I don't think they did. But it's a lot clearer, and it's got a lot more labels. This is why I wanted to make another map similar to this with the rest of Aetheris in it. But yeah, you can see all the places that we haven't visited. Like, you have the Delvat Grath, the Tall Mountains, the Unpromised, Blind Frost, which is this. And you've got these up here. We've never got an answer about these. I mean, they look like floating islands, but we don't really know what they are. And we've got Boy over here. We still don't know what the story is with this guy. But he's literally the size of Zeus, and he has a giant, massive hair behind him. But yeah, I like this map. This is a nice map. I think they just wanted to cover the clouds. They wanted to put something on the clouds, so they drew it like that. Well, don't forget, this is whatchamacallit. This is a giant continent we're talking about. So it's eternally cold up here. So they're migrating the wrong direction anyway. These guys, they're just going that way. I mean, geese are geese. They don't really migrate that much. They move around a lot, but Yeah, not by much. Cape Mete. Does anyone remember this? Cape Mete? Man. Cape Mete. What was Cape Mete again? Cape Mete. The Near East is a cultural region of Heidelin, inclusive to but not limited to the island of Thatnir and its capital city Razatan. The exact location is unknown, well, we know it now, but it lies in the east across the Jade Sea. This is from in-game description from A Realm Reborn by the sound of it. Cape Mete. In the year 912 of the 6th Astral Era, Captain Matislim the Jesus Christ, you couldn't have a worse name, man. Matislim the Leith, a native of Limsa Laminsa, declared his discovery of a sea route to the nation of Hingashi. The place he claimed was the far eastern nation was eventually found to be an island situated between the Sea of Jade and the Bounty. To immortalize his foolish mistake, the cape the captain made land upon was later named to the antiquated term for dream. So Cape Dream, that's what it's called. So apparently... Okay, so apparently he was sailing around trying to find the Far East. He thought he reached it, he didn't, and then he just called it Cape Dream. Okay, so that's interesting. We still don't know what this is though. But yeah, if you look at Eorzea, right? Think of Eorzea for a second, right? I'll do this just before I finish the video, right? So hang on, let me open GIMP real quick. So Eorzea is a great example. So let me show you this real quick. I just realized I'm just talking in silence. Here we go. Okay. Oh God. Copy. Oh. Right. So let me show you yours here real quick. Right. So. Alright, so here's what we have and haven't explored in Eorzea, just Eorzea. So the entirety of Valbrand has been explored. We've seen all the islands and all stuff around it. That's fine. The Cleiades are the location of our islands. So technically we have explored them. The South Sea Isles used to be down here until they were retconned and moved over there. So you can see on the old map, the South Sea Isles aren't there. So they used to be down here. But they were retconned to be over here. So, right, back to Eorzea. So, Valbrand has been entirely discovered. We've played through it. We've played through Old Charlian, the Dravanian. Abaltheus Spine and the Far Reach we haven't. So we've done this, Ishgard, Coerthas. Most of Coerthas. There's still parts of Coerthas we haven't visited. So we visited the Central Highlands, we visited the Western Highlands, but there's still the Southern Highlands and the Eastern Highlands. So if you don't recall from 1.0, Coerthas was actually a much bigger zone. They had all 4 highlands. So they had Central, they had North, South, East and West. But we only have West and Central these days. So there's bits of Coerthas that we haven't seen yet. The Vale from Saltmoor we've already explored, which is where Mac is located. The Straits, we've explored that as well. We sailed across it multiple times. Mordona we have explored. Silverchair Falls we have explored. Yeah, we've explored that. parts of Coerthas we haven't explored. Carton of Flats we have explored. All that is explored. We visited down here. Well, actually no, we have visited down here. So Cape Deadwind and stuff like that. This is the entirety of Thanalan that we play in. We visited all that. We visited Pagaltan in a dungeon. We visited here and the Shroud. We haven't visited this part, so we'll just say Pagaltan is visited because we visited Pagaltan. This part hasn't been visited. It's been elaborated on in lore, but we haven't visited. These islands we haven't visited either. We visited Alamigo, of course. Zelfatol we visited in a dungeon, but a lot of the northern part of this we haven't explored. So we've got the Far Reach, and we've got the rest of Abalathea's Spine. The homeland of the Hellsguard, for example, is around here. We haven't explored these parts, and there's the upper parts of Eorzea, which is mostly mountains, which we haven't explored. There's this part down here, parts of Coerthas. We've got this part down here, so there's fair amounts of Eorzea that we've yet to explore. To be fair, Navaki, they haven't brought in a lot of stuff from 1.0 because they were scrambling. They were scrambling to make something out of it, and they ended up hitting the gold mine by making 2.0, but they had to sacrifice a lot of what 1.0 was and was going to be to actually make a cohesive game. And to be fair, 2.0 was not cohesive at all. There was a lot of stuff that was out of place. One of those parts of Coerthas has been teleported away. They haven't been teleported away. In lore, they still exist. It's just they're locked in perpetual winter along with the rest of the Highlands. You can see them around, if you're around Ishgard, you can actually see them if you look in the distance and stuff like that, but they're not added to the game anymore. You'll see them, if you look at pictures of 1.0, you'll see them. So, I have some pictures of them actually. So, let me go here, here, here. Where's my pictures of 1.0? FFXIV 1.0, that's the one. Okay. Yeah, so that's an old picture of Coerthas, what it used to look like. I had an old map of Coerthas at one point. Yeah. 14 1.0 Coerthas. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so this is 1.0 Coerthas. So we have the Central Highlands, which are here, the Western Highlands over here. You've got the Coerthas Central Lowlands, which are down here, the Coerthas Eastern Lowlands, which are over here, and then the Coerthas Eastern Highlands, which are up here. So there's a fair amount. Like, a lot of these got combined together now, to be fair. Parts of these two got combined to make the Central Highlands as a whole. Parts of the Western Highlands got combined with the Central Highlands to make it whole and make a cohesive zone out of it, essentially. But the rest of them are largely vacated. Like, for example, a lot of people don't know this, but in this part up here, do you remember in 1.0, and it's part of 2.0 lore as well, how Lewis Waugh traveled the realm carving symbols into specific places of significance in order to facilitate the summoning of the 12 at Carton now. In 2.0, it's marked as a cave that's located in Coerthas Central Highlands, but in actuality, it's up here. It was a place of significance. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was near the pools. But there was a place up here. That's where he carved a symbol, but the Eastern Highlands were not added to the game, so they moved it, kind of retconned it to have the symbol in the Central Highlands, which they were able to do because they were abandoning essentially a lot of the lore of this game, to be honest. So They need to stop playing and bring back West Route. You're not wrong either. There's a lot of the game that has been removed and stuff like that. Oh, look. You could also go to Zande's grave in 1.0 if I remember correctly. Yes, that's true. You could actually go to that grave as well. But yeah, essentially, there's a lot of stuff around Eorzea that we have not been able to visit, or we haven't visited yet. There's islands that we haven't visited yet. For example, we visited Old Charlian. We visited the Isle of Ham. The Isle of Wyrm hasn't been visited. Erzland hasn't been visited. Nagin hasn't been visited. And we've got a big portion of continent here that hasn't been visited. According to lore, we flew over it. But that's neither here nor there. And we've got these islands to the side here as well. So there's a lot of this game that we haven't seen yet. And there's a lot of parts of even our own Eorzea that we haven't visited. A lot of people are under the assumption we've seen it all, but we haven't. There's so many parts of this, of Aetheris, that we haven't seen yet. There's so many parts that they can add, but I'm not really sure what they could add here. I'd say they'd get introduced in dungeon form. The only things I could see actually getting added, in as far as Eorzea goes, is the Far Reach and the homeland of the Heldsguard. That could get added as side content of some kind. But yeah, it's 10:15 now. I haven't even had my supper yet, so I need to have my supper. So I'm gonna finish there. So everyone, I appreciate you coming out, and I'm gonna stream again soon, but I'm gonna start working on my next video very soon. So introduce the Shroud as a variant dungeon. Well, they got the Paths of the Dead, but a variant dungeon of a specific part of Gelmora could be plausible. Alright, people, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Right, everybody, have a good night, and I will see you, hopefully, very soon. Maybe y'all talked about it, but where is the giant guy on the map? Tim. That's going to be his name now, isn't it? Jesus. That's his name now. This is Tim. Everybody, meet Tim. We still don't know what the story is with Tim. Nobody knows what the story is with Tim. He's a giant. He kind of looks like Titan from 16. But it's never been explored. But we're just going to call him Tim, and he's walking around. So, that's Tim. Tim is follow you into your dream. Don't be bloody saying that. I'm not having Tim walking around my dreams. We'll elaborate more on Tim's in the next video. Right, people, go on. Have a good night.